It says on my time device that it's 7 o'clock. Let's call the meeting. I call the meeting to order and we'll start by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I got one item that we just got hashed out here for the approval of the agenda, so. The agenda, as far as I know, is gonna be as it is, except at the last minute, we got a letter from one of the petitioners asking to table docket 5 and docket 6, which I'm gonna combine. So that it'll be at the same order, but just so you have a heads up. Is there any other discussion of the agenda?
I'm sorry, I'm confused. I don't see five. You mean docket 1, 2, 3,
They're on the back.
Yeah.
page.
4, 5?
5
Is
and
that what you're?
5
going-
and 6.
This one, yes.
Okay, so those two are going to be
He asked to
to pull.
take them to August meeting.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. But it is docket 0716. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
All right. All right,
We need a motion for that?
yeah,
I would move to table docket, PC 07162605 and PC 07162606.
Second.
all right. We have a motion to table docket 05 and 06 by Jordan and Louis seconded. Does anybody, any further discussion? Steve?
We just put on the record that the petitioner requested a
What?
60-day extension. So we don't, otherwise we would have to deal with it at the next meeting, but this is being done at their request.
Okay.
Like you said.
Thank you. All right, Jordan made the motion, Louis seconded it. There's no other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion is unanimously passed. Now, I suppose we need a motion to approve the rest of the agenda.
Second.
Jordan moved, Louis seconded it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion to approve the agenda is passed. All right, next one is approval of the minutes from June 18th. Is there anybody have any questions or comments?
I'll move to approve. They appeared accurate to me.
Is there a second? John seconds it. Marcia made the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approval of the minutes of June 18th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is passed. Okay, the next item is consider altering planning commission start time. Do we have to go through, Ross, you bring us up to speed.
At the last meeting, Commissioner Ward had brought up the subject of possibly moving planning commission up to 6 o'clock and just wanted to bring it to this meeting for the commission to discuss and decide how you would like to proceed. So,
Okay.
would you prefer to take the lead?
Yeah, well, I guess just a question. I think there was a doodle poll and I didn't see the results. Maybe Dicey, do you have the results when you polled us? And also I want to know how staff feels.
Yeah, I did send out an email to staff and then also to the planning commission members. There was no opposition, some neutral, some in support, pretty mixed.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone on the planning commission that has objections to this?
The only problem I can see personally is if combine and planting season, we could get rained out that day. We don't know it. I'm just one member. We gotta go with the majority and whether it's 6 or 7, I'm probably not gonna stop combining either way. I probably wouldn't be here that time. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
You
okay with it.
You agree too, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm on board for 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then we need a motion to approve this changing of the meeting time.
So moved.
John moves,
I'll second it.
Everett seconds it. We have a motion made and seconded to alter the planning commission starting time from 7 to 6 p.m. Is there any discussion or further discussion?
I would just hope that, yeah, it helps staff, you know, we're not making them come back in, you know, at 7 o'clock either, and better use of everybody's time, I would hope.
Especially in the wintertime.
Especially the winter time when the weather can be.
All right.
Of course, they did away with daylight savings time, so is Minnesota gonna switch back and forth, or are we gonna have more sunlight at the end of the day? I don't know.
No further discussion. Let's vote on changing the planning commission start time from 7 to 6. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion is passed. Jordan, you're next.
We had one petition today that was, our second docket item here. It was a prime soils variance. We did pass it. We added, an extra condition that would limit any building activity to the eastern half of the parcel. So I can go over it again when we get to that if you would like.
Okay. County Board, Marcia.
Yeah, we approved the particular, see, it was the name, oh, Henderson Family Trust, the dirt fill in Nodine that was approved by the county board.
Anything else?
No,
All right. All right, the comp plan, I don't think we've had any activity, have we, Lou?
Nothing really to report right now. We will be having an update to the website next week. And then we will probably, in August, there should be some things going public for review and with the steering committee and then with the general public. So plugging along.
Do you have any way of knowing if we're getting how much the response is from the general public to this whole thing, or?
Well, our engagement was primarily last summer and fall. And then we've been working with the steering committee over the winter. We do have an engagement activity online that's been open for the past 6 months. And we've had good response to that and to our engagement activities that we had previously, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess we go to item 7, petitions. Docket PC 07-16-2601. Consider the petition of Nihilus Schaefer, petitioner representative Chariots for Hope, and Aaron and Erica Benson, the property owners who seek a conditional interim use permit regarding the following. Go ahead, Lou.
Yep, I'll take it from there. To allow a public gathering on private land for a one-day event consisting of an attendance of up to not exceed 499 people pursuant to Winnebago County zoning ordinance, chapter 10.4.617. As stated, this is for a public event. I'll get into some of the details of the event itself in a minute, but we'll start out just with the location. It's going to be located in an existing quarry, a limestone quarry in Dresbach Township. It's right off of the intersection of Oak Hill Drive and County Road 1. You can see there on the map. Oak Hill Drive is a minimum maintenance township road that goes from the lower portion of Dresbach Township, I guess, all the way to the top of the bluff. And this quarry is off of the kind of the top of the bluff, towards the top of that hill road. It is a agricultural zoning district. It's in section 19 of Dresbeck Township. The event is called Quarry Jump for a Cause and involves a launching or driving old vehicles off of the rock face of the quarry wall. Using that as the, I guess the instrument for a fundraising event. Chariots for Hope Wisconsin is the nonprofit that is conducting the event, and Aaron and Erica Benson are the property owners of the quarry, the land that the quarry sits in. A little bit more information on the event itself. Quarry Jump for a Cause is a charitable fundraising event featuring professionally coordinated launches of decommissioned vehicles from a designated quarry cliff into a controlled impact area. This is primarily from their website and information that the group has out, that they put out themselves. Chariots for Hope is a faith-based nonprofit organization that supports low-income families and individuals to maintain self-sufficiency through reliable transportation and ride programs. I think that the vehicles, they take in vehicles and then provide those to qualifying individuals and families to help with transportation needs or in the La Crosse area. And I believe that they have vehicles that they maybe don't work out or they can't use that they then need to scrap, and they're using some of those vehicles for this event. Proceeds from registrations for this event support Chariots for Hope Wisconsin to provide the safe, reliable vehicles to neighbors working towards steady jobs, medical care, and everyday essentials, again, from their website. We had a number of site plans that were submitted by the petitioners, and I'll go through a couple of those to start, and then we'll have some that staff created. This is showing Oak Hill Road or Drive, it's Oak Hill Drive and the Benson Quarry, and indicating locations for vendors, sanitary facilities, water stations, and emergency services within the quarry. This is an updated site plan showing parking. We went back and forth with them on parking accommodations. Originally, they were looking at a shuttle service, then considering parking on County Road 1. There were concerns with that. We heard back from the Highway Department and others regarding that, and so the plans changed again. This is the most recent iteration of that, showing all of the parking being accommodated on site within the quarry itself, in order to avoid traffic and parking issues, safety issues on the county road system. So parking would be accommodated on site. Looks like they will be encouraging folks to carpool, since they're only providing one parking spot per 3 attendees, that they are at the maximum what they're projecting that they will have for attendance. They're expecting 450 to 150 spaces needed. So it's a large, depending on how many people show up, but 200 square feet per space. And based on that, they mapped out the necessary parking within the quarry. And then also at the end of the area, there's a turnaround, a 75-foot unobstructed turn radius at the end of the parking area, which is also at the end of the quarry itself. This is another site plan that they submitted showing the restricted area in yellow is an area where they're not going to allow any attendees, any members of the public to access. That coincides with the launch and I guess impact zone, as well as the area around the top of the quarry wall. So makes sense to keep people from the top, keep them at the base of the quarry. And they'll have guardrails and cement barriers to help with that. And I assume also volunteers and people staffing it to help keep people away from those areas. The yellow is an area outside of so there'll be the impact zone, then there'll be barriers, and then there'll be an area in between where the public will be and those barriers that'll be monitored by volunteers. This is a kind of oblique aerial view of the quarry to give you an idea of what it looks like. You can clearly see the quarry wall there and the access drive from Oak Hill Drive. Again, Oak Hill Drive is a minimum maintenance road, so it is closed in winter. It's gravel, hill road. And then County Road 1 is located just beyond the screen here off to the right, to the north and west of the quarry. This is the same view, just showing some of the parking and facilities that they had indicated on their site plans. The orange line would be that area where they're keeping people or the public away from or out of. The green area is the staging area and landing area for the vehicles. Yellow is parking, which roughly coincides with their parking plan, although the parking plan would be extended further into the quarry to the left of your screen there. So there'll be more parking, and the turnaround area would be off to the left. Again, the orange line is off limits. The blue area by the beginning was indicated for kind of a welcoming area or tent and ticketing area. The red square is vendors, and the blue and red is a first aid area that they had indicated on their site plan. So this is being held as the first annual event for this. So they do plan on doing it in the future if it's successful. The event will be held on Sunday, August 23rd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Applicants submitted info and within your packets includes provisions for public safety, launch procedures, emergency services, traffic management and parking, sanitation, drinking water, waste management, et cetera. Staff also responded and summarized that within the staff report. The recommendation is to hear this as an interim use permit. So again, this is a permit that would expire after the event since it has a very limited scope, timeframe and scope. It'll be for an interim use permit for that one particular event. If they were to do it in subsequent years, they would have to come back and apply again for that event in the future. Like we mentioned before, we have solicited comments from the highway department and emergency management. We did hear some comments back, mainly concerns about the parking situation on County Road 1 previous to them changing that plan. We haven't heard anything as a follow-up after they changed their parking plans, so just wanted to clarify that. And then we do have some photos here showing what the site looks like currently. This is looking at the rock wall inside the quarry of the launch and landing area, the main quarry wall there. This is looking to the further into the quarry from that area, in the area that was indicated for parking, and the turnaround at the end would be down this path here. You can see the current property owners use it as a recreational site, so they have some personal items um, servicing that, some firewood and things like that, that are in the quarry itself. Dresbach Township, signed off on the township acknowledgement form and indicated no comments related to the request. As always, base your decision off the criteria. The draft findings do support granting the IUP. And there are 4 conditions attached for consideration. I would caveat that with Steve is going to give a brief presentation as well, and he might have some additional considerations for you to look at. So I guess before you get into questions, I just ask you to hold off and hear from Steve, and then we can proceed from there. That sounds good.
So I don't usually give a presentation at these things, but this particular application is very unusual, and you're looking at issues that are not typical, that don't typically look at. And you and the county board, we get into an area where you have the discretion here to make impactful decisions just because of the nature of this event. Sounds like a great event, sounds like fun, sounds like a good cause, but it does implicate a lot of regulatory issues that you should think about. And my intent here is not to tell you what you should and shouldn't do, but I want to give you an idea of the scope of the issues that you should consider. Let's see if we go. There we go. Okay, so as Lou said, it's a single-day fundraiser that takes place 5 weeks from now. The plan is to drop 10 decommissioned vehicles off a Legend of Quarry. The quarry will contain up to 499 attendees, 150 parked cars, food vendors, music, EMS, ambulance, and event security. And that one key point is that 499 is one person below triggering the application of the mass assembly ordinance, which would bring in a whole bunch of review from safety standpoints and things like that. This basically, so you can't call up the Department of Driving Cars Off a Cliff regulation to find out everything that you need to all the regulations need to meet. I went through and tried to find everything I could think of and find that it would apply to an event like this, just to give you an idea of the layered regulatory authority, where our authority is, where the state has authority, things like that. So this isn't everything, but this is kind of a smattering. The interim use permit, which you're looking at, the large assemblies license, erosion, land disturbance, environmental review, that's all county stuff that's firmly in our purview. And the state has regulations related to the Pollution Control Act, the Attorney General registering charities, liquor, but I understand they're not having liquor, but that would have to be licensed as well. They have a raffle or something like that. There's Gambling Control Board. And then there's issues with state fire marshal, Department of Revenue sales tax, safety, and township road access. So there's a lot of different things going on here. And a lot of it is not stuff that you decide, but it's also, you have a discretionary role here to determine if that stuff will be monitored or not. So they've planned the event for 499 people, which is one below 500. One thing to keep in mind is that Ordinance 33 applies to actual attendance of 500 or reasonably anticipated attendance of 500, which means that the board, that's a factual finding you could make. So if someone came in here and they were doing an event that was clearly going to have 100,000 people at it, and they told us it was 499 people, we would say, no, you need a mass assembly permit. And that's why that's written that way, because you or the board can look at the facts and make a determination, a factual conclusion, just like a finding of fact about whether it's going to be more than 500 people or not. And if the board says there's going to be more than 500 people, then the other regulatory issues and oversight kicks in. And the reason this is important, because the way this event is structured and timed in combination with county resources kind of creates a structural oversight problem, because county inspections are complaint driven. We don't have inspectors that just go out there and check this routinely. So we have a one-day event, and if there's a complaint, if something's not right, if it's unsafe, if it's polluting the environment, it will effectively be no oversight. It won't be enforced because we can't respond quickly enough to do that. Someone would complain on Monday and then the event is already over. Maybe there's some after event stuff that could be dealt with, but basically the county effectively has no way to enforce the event at the time if it's granted as a conditional interim use permit with the typical conditions that we normally have. So this is what I think you should think about generally for things. You do look at the typical findings of fact, the 7 items, I think it is, that you always look at. But you also have to think about the attendance cap. Do you accept that 499 is it, and you're going to have that with conditions? Do you just accept 499 and don't add any new conditions? Or do you recommend that the board find, well, this is going to be more than 500 people, and so the other ordinance is going to apply? You should also consider, and we'll talk about this further, but whether any gaps in oversight should be closed. Engineering certification, parking requirements, environmental reporting, things like that. We'll go through those a little bit, but you have the board has the authority through the use of conditions to make sure that the applicant has the agencies certify that these things have been done. And then finally, it would be, we have a limited staff in the planning environmental services, and whatever compliance we require is going to have to require minimal effort by the staff to verify. So they can't be calling different agencies and going back and forth to the site and that sort of thing. So I want to talk a little bit about what that might look like. Now, here's what happens if Ordinance 33 applies. There's 3 major components. It has a hard timeline, which it basically has to start 90 days before the event, and the license would be issued or denied. Where does it? Yeah, okay. So basically, the long short of that is that deadline can't be met right now because it's 5 weeks away. They can't apply 90 days ago. That could be waived by the board. But the consideration there is that 90-day point, what would happen is there would be a gathering of the sheriff, the planning environmental services, the highways department, people from every area that has expertise in this type of thing would meet and discuss and hear about the plan and be able to give their input as to whether they had concerns or not, or how they could be dealt with. It also requires 13 mandatory plans that they would have to have a separate detailed plan for water, toilets, waste, medical, security, fire, a whole slew of things. In the materials they've provided bullet points for those items. They're not required to provide those under just a conditional interim use permit. So what they submitted is fine as it is. But if there were under Ordinance 33, or if there were additional conditions, they would have to provide much more detail about those things. There would also be a pre-event inspection. And the right side there is basically all the things that would be different under ordinance 33. The pre-submittal meeting that I just discussed, certified copies of having met all permits, the detailed 13 plans, the fire day notice, the director review from all the departments here, the 10-day pre-event inspection, all things that are not required by a conditional interim use permit. And this is just all the plans that and the source of requirement under our ordinance that would come at a mass gathering event if this event had one more person. So basically, the difference between 499 and 500 is there's a pre-event inspection, there's an attendant ticket caps built into the license. There's inspection, there's revocation and penalties for non-compliance. And the cost of doing all that is shifted to the applicant. So they have to pay for all the permits and all the inspections and any staff time and things like that that would come with that. The out-of-agency approvals do not change. The charitable solicitation registration, which their Wisconsin, well, their Nevada, their Wisconsin chapter of a Nevada corporation, of a Nevada nonprofit. And Minnesota has a requirement that you register in the state if you are soliciting $25,000 or more in contributions. And again, that's one thing we would probably want to see because you'd want to protect the citizens to make sure people are giving their money to an organization that's properly registered. And then there would be the pollution control, the Pollution Control Association vehicle material appliance compliance still applies. There's things they have to do to dispose of the cars and prepare the cars before they go. Liquor, food, gambling, sales tax, all that would still apply. And then the ordinance, basically all those items, it just requires certified copies with the application that show that they've all been obtained. So this is just kind of a checklist that I found that is similar to what we're looking at here. These are the type of things that would you'd want to consider in a something like this. Liability insurance to make sure they have insurance if anyone gets injured and that they indemnify the county against any lawsuits. Could require, depending on the nature of the event, a cash escrow compliance for restoration, which may not be as much of an issue because it's on private property, but it would be if there's erosion or pollution or something like that. Engineer launch safety certification. It's a very unusual thing. So if when you launch a car off the cliff, what does the setback distance need to be from that to the spectators? What happens when the car hits the ground? Does it bounce? Does it roll? Does it stop? All those are things that probably we know nothing about. So somebody who can evaluate the safety of what's going on would probably take a look at that, as well as the how solid the cliff edge is and whether the launch point is safe. And then some of the other stuff, the parking plan, erosion, attendance cap enforcement, applicant funded monitor. Well, I'll talk about those in a second. Vehicle depollution, there would have to be a lot of things removed from the vehicle before it goes over the edge, and after it's recovered, you'd want to make sure that it's all properly disposed of, not buried on the site or anything like that, and everything is hauled off. These are some of the things I mentioned earlier: the charitable solicitation registration, food, liquor, that sort of things. So there's three ways that you could approach this. You could recommend that the board finds it reasonably anticipates the event will exceed 499 attendees, and all the rest of these compliance under ordinance 33 would apply. You could recommend to the board accept 49, but add some conditions that you think are, showstoppers that really should be addressed. Basically taking anything that's required under ordinance 33 and making it a condition of the conditional use permit. Or you could recommend denial or extend 60 days for more time to consider. Of course, that would exceed their when the event is currently planned for. So I'm going to give you some example conditions, and these are the kinds of things that I wanted, the characteristics that I wanted them to have. We're not going to enforce other agencies' laws. We don't want to provide a day of responsibilities for planning and environmental services or bury them in work. It has to be focused on the applicant proving that they've done these things and not us collecting the things. So if the applicant doesn't respond to anything, the permit is not effective until Planning Environmental Services would certify that all these things are done. If there is a cap, if it stays at 499, it has to be enforced and provable and auditable that there's only 499 people in there, which means numbered tickets or wristbands or limited parking or something like that. So they have, I believe they have looked at event liability insurance, though there's questions. I think the injury insurance is only $5,000 or something like that, and it should be much, much higher than that, and needs to address indemnification of the county. Could require proof of vehicle preparation. They have a checklist they have, which is good, and it mirrors what kind of things the state requires. And so you may want to have them submit those and certify that they've done all that. A final inspection after the event is over to make sure that it's been entirely clean and restored to its original condition and there's no pollution or anything like that. Methodology to enforce an attendance cap if it's at 499. And if they sell 500 tickets before the event, it becomes an ordinance 33 event that has to meet all the regulations. And then capacity limiting, again, just making sure that if they say there's going to be no more than 499 people there, that there is actually not more than 499 people there without us having to stand there and count the number of people. Another potential condition would be an applicant-funded on-site monitor with pre-written authority to stop the event at their discretion. So if they see the 501st person walk through there, or they look at what's a launch and they say, that doesn't look safe to me, they would have the authority to just shut it down. And that would, that could be a off-duty sheriff's deputy who they're paying for, or it could be another county employee that is being paid to do that outside of their normal responsibilities. And making it self-executing breach. And all that really means is that we don't have to go out and prove something in order to show that they breached. It's up to them to show that they have not. Which means that if there's 501 people in there, we don't have to go to court and prove there's 501 people in there. It's shut down by default. A pre-event compliance certification. I think if we were going to add a lot of conditions and see a lot of certificates, I think the way to minimize the burden on county staff would be that they would send one packet with everything. And then the Planning Environmental Services Director would evaluate, see if it's meets all the requirements, and then certify that it does and they're ready to go. Because otherwise, you're chasing paper back and forth and where did this go? Where did that go? Did we have this? And if it just comes in one packet and sit down for, half hour and look through it, it would be a lot easier on county staff. All the other approvals would be proof only. We're not going to go out and inspect things that are outside the county's jurisdiction. And we'd have the ability to inspect the site at any time and revoke the permit at any time for any reason. And that is it. Yes.
Are the people involved in putting this on, are they counted in the 499 or is that?
Yeah, and they're not, for purposes of the ordinance 33, the staff who are working the event are not counted among those people.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
How about the 15 and under people that there's no charge for, no
They
ticket for
would,
them? Or-
yeah, there would have to be a wristband or a 1,500 ticket, something that could be counted. Yeah, yeah.
Steve, aside from the automobiles being prepared beforehand, going off and then cleaned up afterwards, does this differ in any significant way from, for example, a musical event
Mhm.
that would be put on in the same location, for example?
Yeah, there's some similarities, but there's some, I think, important differences. The main difference is, the fundamental job of the county is to protect the health, safety, and welfare. A musical event, we've seen those before, and we could assess what we think is going to happen. This is something that is very unusual. It's cool, it's fun, but in terms of protecting the health, safety, and welfare, we've never seen this before. And so all those questions, just the simple question of how far does the audience need to be away? I have no idea, or how do you, what is the safe way to launch a car off a cliff? Those are things that need to be, that you may want to consider having addressed that wouldn't be an issue for a musical event. But some of the issues, the parking, the toilets and water, all those things, there'd be a lot of similarities. This one just has some particular circumstances. And again, I'm not recommending one way or another. It's kind of the why you guys are here and why the board exists, to look at these discretionary things and say, in our judgment, do we think that these things need to be addressed or do we think it's fine? But I wanted to give you the scope of what was available to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Steve, when we're dealing with a set date of August 23rd, what happens? It's storming 4 hours that day and they decide to postpone it to the following week.
Mhm.
I mean, do we give them that option or do you just say, no, it's that day or nothing?
Well, the way the permit is permit is drafted right now, it would have to be that day. So they would have to come back. I mean, I guess you could put a provision in there that if for any reason it can't go on, they could come back and get approval for a different day, an alternative day. Or you could provide a method, if it can't go on, notify the county of the date that it's going to go on or something like that. You could write that into the permit so that they wouldn't have to come back.
Marcia?
Yeah, Steve, thanks for all the cautionary advice. Kind of a crazy event. I've never heard of anything. I don't, launching, do you just push them over the edge and they go clunk, or I don't see what the draw is. I guess I don't understand it.
Demolition derby?
Yeah, well, demolition derby, yeah, you're ramming here, but this is just, I don't know what means
I've
launch.
watched hours of this on YouTube already. I
Oh,
can
have
see
you?
that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I haven't done that. Have you checked out I know the landowners are local, but this nonprofit organization, you said they're based in Nevada, but there's a Wisconsin chapter. And then it's all Wisconsin and, I'm sorry, we got a border here. I mean, what are the advantages to Winona County, Minnesota conducting this? Do we benefit from any of the proceeds? And then I did look at the event insurance price quote, and I know every state has a lot of different rules, and Minnesota has a lot different rules than Wisconsin, but it says event location Wisconsin. So I don't even know if this is a valid insurance because every state's very different as far as what they require for insurances.
Yeah.
So the validity of the organization, I apologize. I should have
Yeah.
probably Googled it myself, but I did not.
No, I did look up and I don't want to disparage them. I would assume they're good, well-meaning people. It was difficult for me to determine who exactly was taking responsibility for the event because there's a handful of organizations with this name throughout the country. The Nevada organization, it seems to be the central main organization. Wisconsin is a chapter. The organization is incorporated separately in Wisconsin. I don't know the corporate papers, how they relate to what's going on there. I did find that they were not registered in Minnesota as a charitable organization, and their Wisconsin corporate registration was expired for failure to file an annual report, which happens, and if it's just 1 year, it would be fixed by them filing the report. But it would, from a liability standpoint, it would be good to clarify and make sure that the people who are running the event have the resources to deal with anything negative that happens at the event. As far as what's good for Minnesota, that's probably a question to ask the petitioners.
Petitioners.
Are there any other questions for Steve Everett?
I believe this event was scheduled for either 7 or 8 hours. You were talking about 10 launches. That's a little over 1 per hour. So they're not gonna sell alcohol on site, but you can't stop people from bringing it. So if you're gonna have a 8-hour party with food and social event, we watch 10 cars go over a cliff, to me, this is more of a party than it is a car crash event. I think we need to approach it from both aspects.
It's a little concerning to me that the requirement is 90 days and we're only looking at 5 weeks.
We're not being allowed to do the homework that
Right,
is required of us
right.
to permit something like this.
And for all of our insurance purposes, as a farmer or township, anything, you got $1 million policy in Minnesota. So I do think there should be $1 million liability required. That's just standard in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Steve? Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
Just a question for Jordan here. You said you watched a lot of these, any other insight for, brought up, as to what goes on?
They do a big one in Alaska every 4th of July that I've watched for the past few years. Yeah.
Do they push them or pull?
They jam the gas pedal down and somebody just throws it in drive in it.
If these are decommissioned cars
they
with
don't
no
have-
oil, how do you get them?
Well, I guess that's a question for
You're
the
supposed to have,
applicant.
you're supposed to have the batteries removed from it.
Right.
Yeah, and all the fluids and
They
everything.
probably have a tilted ramp,
Well, I don't know. It's stuff that's not explained.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would like to
He
hear.
must have Done differently than what they're saying here.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, I guess the petitioners, if you're here, would you please step forward and state your name and address and give us your side of the story?
Thank you. It's been really great working with the town of Drisback.
I'm sorry,
and-
you need it for
sorry,
public record,
nice.
name and address.
You got it. Nias Schaefer, representing Chariots for Hope, Wisconsin. Address 171 29th Street South, La Crosse, Wisconsin. And it's been great working with everybody. So up to this point, it's been really great. I can explain some of the questions that Steve had presented in much more detail. First of all, you nailed the event right on. It's going to be a fun event. It is a community-based event that is going to support not only Wisconsin people, but our organization helps transportation barriers people within 30 miles of La Crosse, Wisconsin. So we've had applicants and nominees from Winona right in town here. So it is not definitely not just a Wisconsin-based event. We are actually having this event as a memorial event of 2 people who passed away in La Crescent. So I would imagine a good number of our attendants are going to be La Crescent based. We've talked to the fire department and other, we had a Boy Scout troop that from La Crescent, and that we've asked if they'd want to come in and help serve water, and then they could have a cut of the proceeds with that too. So this is going to be a community-based event in Wisconsin. We were not aware that we needed to provide a charitable event permit to have this event. I think he said that if it's over a $20,000 draw from the event, that is something that's required. That would be beyond our wildest dreams to get that on a first annual event. I would say our goal is $10,000 at the most. We have some in-kind donations, but we have some cash donations because it's a process that obviously costs a lot of time and money. When I presented this to the county initially, they said, "Are you sure you want to do this? There's a lot that goes behind this." And you guys have heard already from Steve and through our site plan that a lot of this has been thoroughly thought out. Some things are new, and I appreciate that because we want to have an extremely safe and effective event. Unfortunately, it won't be quite as dramatic as the Alaska 4th of July launching off a 300-foot cliff at 60-mile-an-hour event. We plan on following every one of the requirements that the EPA in Minnesota has put forth for us, which would include eliminating batteries, motor oil, and gasoline. Doggone it. It makes it a little less fun. So this event this year, the cars will be pushed over the bluff and engineered through one of our major in-kind sponsors, industrial equipment company and tactical company called Carey Industrial Engineering. They're one of our major sponsors in kind. They will have equipment on site. We're also working with a company that recycles guardrail. The launch site itself will have guardrail barriers at the top of the bluff. That whole top of the bluff area, as seen at the on the schematic that was presented, is not accessible to any public or people that'll be as attendees. There'll be a small group of our launch team that we're calling them that have specialized skills in mechanics and other areas. We have an industrial welder that's going to be working on a track system for it. I mean, it's really, really well thought out. I'd be happy to explain that in further, depending on if you guys have any other requirements that you have for us. We're pretty invested in this. Chariots for Hope Wisconsin is a standalone 501c3 registered nonprofit organization with the federal government. The only thing that we have in common with Chariots for Hope in Nevada, but it's not Nevada, it's actually Nebraska, is that they gave us our marketing material and we're an affiliate of theirs. We're actually not officially a chapter. So we would hold the full responsibility as a registered 501c3. During this process, we did find out that the email that was set up was an old email from the state of Wisconsin. We were behind in our application for our renewal of our state, I guess it would be our limited liability company or corporation status. That was immediately addressed and sent back to the county board. So that is in complete standing, good standings. I was surprised it wasn't in here, but that is totally, we are a legitimate crew that supports, last year we gave away 9 vehicles to needy families and served about $30,000 of discounted repairs within our organization. And that ranged from an 8-county radius. I mean, it's been awesome. This year, we're hoping to do 14,000 or 14 cars and another, double up on our repairs, mostly with volunteers, which has been really great. So I addressed, I think, $499. So that number, the only reason that number is in this proposal is because that is the number that is on the requirements of a small size gathering in the permitting. We are hoping to have as an absolute max. And we have an electronic ticketing through our scheduling software for our ticketing, that we have a max number of tickets being sold is 400. If you saw the plan, we have a ticket booth. So I actually thought that would also include our staff and volunteers that were there, which according, I guess, to the plan, that it won't. If we sold 400 tickets to the event, we would be ecstatic, and that's where it would end. We can have a wristband system there and put that into place where we could have 400 wristbands only for those attendees that come in. And we could definitely provide ahead of time at our expense any records to show how many people are actually coming, which a quick printout from our software through our website that does our ticketing. So that would be super easy. We do have, and I think it was included in the packet, a requirement checklist, which is really over the top in terms of EPA. Each one of the vehicles, we've agreed to have them certified. We will do that via picture via each vehicle, and on the questionnaire, we'll fill it out for each vehicle with VIN number if necessary, if that's what you guys would like to do. And we'll do that. We'll have that prepared at least 1 week before the event in each one of those vehicles. So insurance, our insurance, I don't know where the $5,000 or questionable amount. We have a 2 quotes right now for $1 million policy at, and then a 2 million max currently. And we are just kind of waiting to pull the trigger on that because it's not very inexpensive. Kind of like when we say, hey, we're gonna launch a vehicle off here. Many insurance companies don't have a whole lot of, experience insuring people pushing cars off a cliff with people watching. So I totally understand that. And it's not inexpensive for our organization to do that. Is it a great fundraiser? I don't know. It's our first annual one. We had a vision to do it, and we have a ton of community support with that, and it's been really great. To ask the question, what happens if it rains? We're going to call it a rain or shine event unless there's lightning or inclement weather. This will be a 1 day. I do not believe, I want to discuss with our team if we were going to extend that out to a different weekend if we don't do it. So those that are buying tickets will have to understand if the event doesn't go on, the event just doesn't go on. And for most of the people that we are serving, and as we have that in our ticketing, we will either give them a refund if they really want one. But ultimately, this is a charitable event, and any experience that I've had, most people just donate that regardless. So that's the possible permit with extension. The length of timing of the event when we applied for the event, that was set up, the event itself, and tear down. That's what we had anticipated for the when we submitted 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. As we were doing our parking of our cars, I would imagine people are going to show up if it starts at noon. Some people are going to show up at 10:30 in the morning and just wait, just to sit around or whatever. But our gates will open at 10 a.m. for ticketing. Our food will start at 11. So there'll be things for people to do. There's absolutely no carry-ins of coolers. It's a non-alcoholic event, 100% through our, and that'll be monitored through our liability insurance, as well as our permit that we have through our staff. We are going to have volunteer security on site. We have a team that we're already putting together for that. That'll be a high priority item to make sure that that's not happening on this site. Okay. We are going to have a church service at the quarry, and there's going to be music that goes along with that. And so it's going to be a really fun, family friendly, easy event, we hope. As for the launch itself, in terms of the safety of that, without high speeds and a pretty severe drop without any angulation. These cars, by every stretch of my imagination, and I've taken some physics classes in the past, they're going to hit the bottom and they're going to stop. They really won't have an opportunity to roll. The bottom of the quarry where it's at, it is at bedrock and it's completely stone flat. So there's no opportunity, like in Alaska, for things to hit the side of the hill and keep on going. So these vehicles are going to land flat. Even though that's the case, we have 4-foot cement barriers and guardrail, along with a 20-foot zone outside of where people cannot be. And that is about 60 feet away from our actual ideal impact zone. So it's going to be it would have to be a miracle for any debris even to get that far coming off the cliff. Let's see here. I think the description of the event and the intention of the event was really well taken care of by the gentleman from the county, and I appreciate you guys for your consideration of this event.
Any questions?
Yeah, so and my understanding on the ticket numbers, you plan on stopping to sell tickets at 400.
Yep. So we use a app, and I have it up on my phone right here, called Zephy, and Zephy can you can only sell a certain amount of tickets if you put that in there. So our ticket number sales are going to stop at 400. Okay. And then at our event, I thought about that when he was talking about it. I didn't even, if we get to 400, it would be absolutely amazing. Who knows? Maybe it'll be like Woodstock and there'll be, people coming out of the woods trying to get into Oak Hill Road to see this car fall off the top of the bluff. We will get wristbands that'll number up to 400, and that'll be it.
On the liability, does your organization plan on taking on the liability or the landowners?
So we have, our organization is buying the liability insurance.
So then you will have to have that physical address listed on your policy to be covered.
Yep, and it is. Yep, absolutely.
Not Wisconsin,
What's that?
not Wisconsin.
Yeah,
The code
I
says
think when that was, we're in that discovery phase. We were in the discovery, when that was submitted, we were in discovery phase for liability insurance.
You need the physical.
Yes. Oh, we will definitely need the physical. Yeah, it is definitely not in
Now,
Wisconsin.
it was only dated 7/10, so
Okay.
2026. So I'm.
Yeah, that's not too far away, but we have that very specifically.
Marcia?
Okay. Where else in the tri-state area have you done an event like this?
This is the first annual.
Okay, you haven't done one in Wisconsin or
Nope.
Northeast Iowa or anything? We'd be the
This is
the
it.
trial,
Yep.
okay. You said a couple of things that bother me is I represent Winona County. You mentioned La Crescent, that's Houston County. You mentioned the people that unfortunately passed, that's La Crescent. You mentioned La Crescent police and everything, but it's Winona County people that would be responsible, the sheriff, the emergency, management and such. La Crescent can come across the border, of course, but the event, of course, is in Winona County. And you said your organization does do volunteer or gives to people 30 miles. You're probably really close at about 20 miles from Winona to downtown La Crosse. You're going to put up guardrails and concrete barriers. Are you really intending to put them up and then take them all down if you're planning to do this as a annual event?
Yes.
Okay. One of the things that when people do events here and everything, you've listed Nodine and La Crescent, but we also have Dakota First Responders. Do you ever, of course, it's the first time, do you, just for them taking their Sunday afternoon and being on call and everything, which is what EMS people do, and they're great volunteers, but that your organization might make a donation to those specific organizations because they do a lot and they don't get reimbursed for it. right, the insurance is problematic, because ultimately if something happened, lawyers come after the deepest pockets, and the county probably has deeper pockets than Chariots for Hope. So I don't know, and this would be a question for probably Steve or legal staff, if Winona County can be put on there as a second, there's a term for that. Yeah, additional insured, so that insurance would kick in before anything the county would had to do, would be problematic for me. I really have problems with that road too. You mentioned, if it rains a couple inches, that is a minimum maintenance road. I don't know if anybody else had an opportunity to drive down it. Every now and then I take my little Honda Civic, and I have low suspension and such, and I always question, am I gonna make it or am I not gonna make it? I go down. I never tried to come back up the road because it is a shortcut down in Dakota, but again, if you have that many vehicles, and I know you've created parking on site, initially you were going to use County Road 1, and that was a really big red flag, but that is a minimum maintenance road. And if we get a storm, I'm not sure how rutted it can get. It can be very treacherous. And you're going to be asking, I've had experience with people from the big city and such, they don't know how to drive on gravel roads or anything. I don't think two cars can meet on that road. I mean, I don't know if you're going to try and make it a one-way loop, but then you're going to be using County Road 1, and that will encourage people to maybe park up there and walk down in and everything. And again, our county highway engineer said, pretty much absolutely not, because County Road 1 does not have any extended shoulder to allow for parking either. But the township basically didn't say if they supported it or not. By our form, right? There was how does it say? No comment. So I don't know how thoroughly they thought through this whole thing. I mean, I did Google your organization, and yeah, it seems like you're legit and you've got a lot of heart. But we're putting Winona County people at risk for liability and exposure and problems that we don't normally put our taxpayer in that situation. And again, and then you're Wisconsin. So, I mean, did you look at a place in Houston County or La Crescent or Wisconsin? I mean, sorry, I have a bug up my butt about people coming to Winona County. We've had a few events come, they come in here, they try to, use our facilities and our people and everything, and then they leave and we never really get any benefit from them. We had that skateboarder guy do something down Homer Valley Road one time. We've had some bicycle races, and I don't know what the benefit to Winona County residents really is. And that's what I have to look out for. So.
Marcia, and a comment to the road, our minimum maintenance roads in our township.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them you could meet cars.
Yeah.
It's a one-way road.
Yep.
And almost every one of them is four-wheel drive pickup only.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even passable at all times.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I have not seen this road. I don't know what the condition of it is.
I haven't been down it
But
lately.
I do think that if we were to pass it, we need to add another condition that they must put the township road back to where it is now after the event. I mean, if it does get damaged.
I did not drive it recently, but it can get quite, ruddy. And like you said, it's minimum maintenance. It's not rocked and it's not plowed and it's what it is. It's a cow path from the top of the hill to the valley.
And can I comment on that? Is that right?
Yeah.
At the Dresbach Township meeting, the maintenance supervisor was there as well as all the supervisors, and they had some specifics on that they suggested that we do a one-way on that for the day,
Yeah.
and that they would help us out with that process to do a one-way only before and after the event. So it does accommodate two vehicles across, but we don't want that risk either, because the shoulders could get soft or can get soft on that road. It's actually a pretty firm gravel road. It's not like an old mud road that in North Dakota, when I grew up, the minimum maintenance road, you needed 44-inch tires, but
We would have
it's
to
not
ask
like that.
legal, is that, I don't know if that's legal that it's a public road.
So
Is
it's
it
under,
legal to change it to a one-way even for the day? I don't know. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I.
Yeah, I
again,
believe in the literature, it said that Jarsback County has the jurisdiction on the road, or Jarsback Township.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yep.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So the required, assuming there's no exception made for it, the required application period is 90 days ahead of the event. And this is turning out to be 5 weeks. Or maybe it's a little earlier than that, but are you guys locked into the August date? Or could it go farther so that we have a chance to work out, some of the questions?
We are pretty locked in our August date. Not that, I mean, if you guys say, no, we're not doing the event, I mean, that would be probably the biggest disaster of it all. So I guess it's in your guys' hands with the preparatory work that we've done and the information that was received tonight to try to figure that out. Are we going to put it out 90 days? Would we? We could. I mean, if you guys need more time to, get some more specifics and you need more information to us, we could do that. I think it would be getting into the school season. I have another job. I'm not just the guy that supports the community and my family. I've been
If I
working.
may interject,
Yep.
now, we're just information
Yeah,
gathering.
right, absolutely.
So
Yep,
it's, before you
absolutely.
get it, it would have to go through the
Oh,
county
yeah.
commissioners. And that meeting is August 11th, so you're only got 2 weeks between that meeting and when you're proposing having this, and
Okay.
I don't, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible.
Okay.
The 90 days only comes into effect if we're considering this being over 499 people, correct?
Yeah, I guess if it is their first time, then next year they'll know to apply a little bit earlier. If they do want to continue it.
Yep. And there was a recommendation for us. We didn't have the event put together. We talked to the planning commission here and they said, you better get your stuff in and pay your fees and hope for the best. So, we've done a lot of due diligence up to this point to get it to a point where it would be, minus things that we might not have considered from tonight, but I don't think there were very many. And hopefully they were addressed and we can go from there.
Is the landowner here?
Yeah, the landowner's here.
I don't have any real, I'm assuming you're of sound mind and you're gonna make sure that this insurance policy fits enough to make you comfortable.
Yes.
Correct.
So, yeah, I'm Aaron Benson, the Corey owner. And I love that land very much and certainly not going to promote an event there that wouldn't be safe and wouldn't return it to as good or better condition than it is right now. So obviously I want no liability part of that. We're going to make sure that that's ironclad and that the insurance policy is in good standing. I'm familiar with this group. They do a lot of good, not just for the people that receive the vehicles, but also their whole team of mechanics and folks that volunteer. I mean, it's a really wonderful organization. So I'm in full support of them. I want them to succeed. I want it to be a good event. I drive on Oak Hill many times a week. I was on there tonight, even while it was raining very hard, and they do a really good job of maintaining it. It's a much better minimum maintenance road than most. It can wash out. It did when we had many inches, a couple weeks back, but they very quickly, it's not minimum maintenance, it's maintained. So it's good. I meet cars on it fairly often. I don't like to, but we do. If they do make it single lane, I think it's a great option too for a couple hours. But nonetheless, yeah, I think they've really thought of everything. And I feel like they've answered my questions. I had a lot of them, a lot of the same ones that you had. They've really worked hard to make sure that it's a good plan, it's a safe plan. And, yeah, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
that-
Before you leave,
Sure.
rock quarries we have fractured limestone. So has anybody done any kind of, you know, how deep do you get into this? Are 10 vehicles going to be at the rim of the rock quarry sitting up there waiting to go off? I mean, rock quarries are fractured limestone. You see, you know, things fall down all the time.
Sure.
So how are they accessing the top? Where are they coming in from to get to the top of the quarry? I'm trying to picture. I've driven by there a number of times, but I've never looked at it from, you know, throwing vehicles off of it.
When
How
it
will
was
they
an
get up there?
operating, when it was an operating quarry, the access was from the top. And there's a road that goes down into the bottom of it.
Right.
So that road is still there from years and years ago. So I just drove it today. So,
Okay.
but anyway, that road goes up and down. So there's a nice staging area up at the top that you can drive the equipment up to. And it's a easily blockaded. So it's just one road. We'll have gates there so that nobody else can go up that road. But you drive it all up there, and there's also gates up at the top so nobody can come in from the other side. So it's isolated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's just one path. There's one spot and one, so they're not coming off in multiple places. It's just in one spot.
Okay. All right. Because I see stuff fall down all the time on
Yeah, I can.
roads and everything.
Sure. Yep.
From rock quarries and
Yep.
stuff. So yeah.
Okay, thank you both for your
I had one more
information.
question
Sure.
the timing. You're saying that, so have you been advertising this, or how do people know? I mean, if we say no this year and you want to do it next year, how have you, what's your advertising been? What's the feedback you've gotten, or haven't you advertised the event in any definitive way yet?
We have advertised the event. We have had super positive
What do you use?
Okay.
Facebook or what?
Facebook, just Facebook. Yep,
Okay,
just gaining interest. And
okay. So people are thinking it's going to happen.
Yeah, they would, yep, they would love it to happen.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Do you have a semi to send over the edge?
I do have a semi truck that's painted up with Chariots for Hope. That is not going over the edge.
Okay.
Unfortunately not.
If you got one.
But yeah, looking for donated vehicles.
Thank you
There go.
both.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
All right, at this time, do we have a motion to open the public hearing for 7-16-2601?
So moved.
Jordan moves and second it.
Second.
Everett seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is passed to open the public hearing for 7-16-2601. Anyone wishing to speak during this public hearing, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what you got to say. For the second time, anyone wishing, oh, is there somebody on the internet?
Yes,
Okay,
Barbecue.
go ahead.
well, thank you. My name's Kristen Breitzman, and I live at 46176 Oak Hill Drive. Our private driveway is right off of Oak Hill at the top of the quarry. And I guess we appreciate the opportunity to give us this moment to speak at your meeting, so thank you for that. We do have concerns about the road and the conditions of the road, being that we live on this road and know that it's a one-way street, very difficult to have two-way traffic. And it is a low-maintenance road. I don't know that anybody who actually drives the road would say that it's not. We have concerns about parking along Oak Hill Road up to Highway 1. And if there's any consideration for the neighbors of this property for noise control during that day, as well as keeping people off of our private property and our road. We currently have visitors to the quarry that do come up and walk down our private road just so they can get a view of the water. And even though it's labeled as private, so I guess we would respectfully request that there be consideration, if it is approved, for the neighbors in this area to maintain their privacy. Also, one last thing. This is a very populated wildlife area. I think consideration should be given to that as well. Exactly today, we had a timber rattlesnake removed from our property. And I just want you to know that this is a very populated natural wildlife area. But thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. All right, for the second time, I think it's the second time, right? Anyone wishing to speak to the docket number 01, please step forward and say your name and address. For the third time, anyone wishing to speak to PC 07-16-26-01, step forward, state your name and address. Do I have to go one more time?
We'll go 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times.
So, all right, for the third time, right?
Third and
Yep.
final time.
Anyone wishing to speak to docket number 01, please step forward and say your name and address. There's nothing on the internet either, Ross, right? Okay.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Louis motions to close the public hearing for docket 01. Do I hear a second? If somebody said, all right, Mike seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The public hearing is closed. Now, I hope we don't have to discuss it as long as we have so far, but it's up to us to have a discussion now.
Well, I'd like to make a few comments. In regards to the insurance, number 2 says proof of event insurance will be provided to the planning environmental department prior to the event. So I think we can leave it up to planning department to make sure that there's $1 million liability and that the physical address is on that liability policy, and that should satisfy insurance needs. I had concerns about the $4.99. He said if they were going to stop selling tickets at $400, I guess all we can do is take their word for it the first year. The date, they're gonna have it regardless. As a township officer, I'm always concerned about damage to the township roads, but in the township paper, they put no comments and they put no conditions about maintaining the roads. So maybe if they're not worried about it, I don't know if we should be. And in defense of the neighbor, if there are people there that close to their driveway and their private property, maybe we should require the organization to post a couple temporary signs that day at the sides of their driveway and their property stating that it is private property, do not proceed past this point. They can pull them up that night, and we are acknowledging that lady's request.
Okay, any more discussion?
We could add that as a condition, couldn't we?
Yes.
Do we, Marcia? Well, wait, let's,
Finish that.
do you want to make a motion to add that as a condition?
I think we can at the end after we hear more discussion.
Okay,
Okay.
don't let me forget. All right,
Okay.
Marcia.
Well, unfortunately, the timeline, these things come to us, and bang, 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 and yet we don't really have a completed application. I don't like the idea that the petitioner is the person running the organization and then the landowner is listed second. we issue conditional or interim use permits to the landowner, not to these organizations that come in and promise us the world. So, and I appreciate the landowner is here, but we need to deal with the landowner, in my opinion, than we do the organizer of the event. And the insurance doesn't say the landowner on it. The application is Mr. Schaefer, more so. The part of it too is holding the landowner responsible for cleanup after the event. Again, if for some reason it doesn't get cleaned up and you got car parts and stuff laying around, have we created another salvage yard within the county? Again, we need to hold the landowner responsible, not the event planner. I mean, they need to have an agreement with the event planner, and I'm not sure how we do that. But, and then the insurance, right? If we need to protect Winona County residents from being liable for anything, and then addressing the neighbors, absolutely. A one-day event is different than if it was forever. And if it was a forever thing, we would probably have more, what, DNR weighing in on well, is a rattlesnake an endangered species?
Yeah, I believe so.
Safety.
Yeah, and it's a safety thing. I did not hear, I did see from Dave Kramer, the road issues, but I didn't really see, other than Ben Klinger sent us a note that they would work with them after, but it's all after the fact instead of upfront. So I do have some issues of us getting pushed into doing something, kind of reacting versus being proactive. I know the organizer tried to be proactive, but there again, we're being pushed into a very short timeline. And as Jean said, the county board won't take this up until, what, 2 weeks before the event? And we are shorthanded in staff, and for staff to try and pull all this together, it is very difficult. So if the applicant can't put together a full package in one fell swoop, and this goes for anything future too, it's very difficult to do our job. And right now, I don't feel comfortable with it.
Any further comments? Louis?
Road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I don't think we're adequately prepared to do this project as sitting going on. I think there needs to be more preparation, at least for first one out of the gate. I didn't hear too much about the cleanup or prepared with the vehicles, but when they do crash, there's gonna be a lot of glass if the glass isn't taken out of them. You, Mr. Potter, would understand the glass problem.
All right, Everett.
I have a question for planning department. Why was Chariots for Hope the applicant and not the landowner?
We do that all the time. I don't like it. Don't like it.
The agenda does list both. So it is considered both.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Have we all looked over the findings of fact that are there? And do you agree with them or disagree? Want to go over them?
Other towns on the road, whether it's the findings in there ever.
I mean, the township didn't make any requests to protect the road, the neighbor did.
Yeah, they said, but if we don't have it in writing,
It is the township's responsibility, so if the road gets unpassable and the neighbor can't get in and out to their private drive, I mean, the township is gonna have to go back, but I guess if they're not requesting it, maybe it's their problem and not ours, I don't know how we look at that. They had their opportunity to put it in there and they didn't do it.
Okay, now the conditions, do you want to add your condition or?
Yeah. Let me find where I got it wrote down.
Steve?
I think based on what Everett had said before, you'd want the county added as an additional insured and a minimum $1 million policy. Correct?
Yeah.
And those could be just add it as a condition to that.
All right,
And was signage part of that?
Yeah,
That too.
I would like to add the condition that a required $1 million policy with the physical address. And Chariots for Hope is responsible to put up temporary private property signs for that day only on adjoining landowners.
okay, you moved that, right?
I make that as a motion.
All right. Steve,
Sorry, just one other mechanism I wanted to share if you want to do as well. We could write up an indemnification for the Chariots for Hope to indemnify the county against anything in addition to having them as an additional insured. So in the, in the outside chance something wasn't covered with insurance or was outside insurance, they would still be responsible for anything that impacted the county financially. Just a suggestion. That would be something that we would draft and have them sign.
So that would be a statement of indemnification.
Right, it would be an
From-
indemnification agreement between them and the county.
oh, Louis, did you have a comment?
Everett, pretty well get, I'd second Everett's.
Oh, you seconded, okay.
Second Everett.
We have a motion and seconded to, and you want to reread it again?
That they provide $1 million liability with landowner's physical address on there and indemnification to Winona County, put that all into one. And Chariots for Hope is responsible to put up temporary private property signs outside of the property owned by Aaron Benson for that day only.
Okay. Marcia?
The question of cleanup, sometimes we put, somebody's gonna do a solar project or wind.
Is that pertinent to this motion?
Well, it could be added as a
Combine it.
condition, combine it, because do we want to put some kind of bond? Because we talked about, yes, they're supposed to take the gas and oil and all the stuff out of there, but if you got
Well,
glass and taillights and everything, now, of course, again, it's private property. So I guess he would have to the private property person would have to deal with it. Can we do that or not? But I don't like the precedence of letting somebody come in and, well, if they threw trash in the ditch, I would get calls to clean up the trash in the ditch. So if I allow trash to accumulate on a private property and causes problems, I'm probably gonna get calls someday too.
If you look on the attached conditions, there is one that I think addresses that.
It's pretty weak though. To me,
Maybe
it's too weak.
you could look at
Yeah.
adding to it, but
We do an
they
inspection.
had included in their application that they would be doing a walkover and inspection with the property owner afterwards. And I just added that Winona County staff would want to also either be involved with that or have the opportunity to have a look at it afterwards to make sure that it is cleaned up is the intent of that. So
Sure.
if you
And
want
good
to,
intentions, but does it have enough meat to it? And there again, then we're taking staff time to come to, to do a walkthrough. And is that covered in the permit fee?
well,
That's debatable.
we tend to do a lot more for probably other types of applications. And so I think I was looking at that as like a minimum that we'd be willing to do for something like this. But yeah, that is a consideration, certainly. The only other piece that I was listening to the conversation and that I just throw out there for to consider for a condition would be the ticketing and attendance verification. They said that they would be doing that with through their website, but if you would like to have that provided, including that as a condition, might be appropriate as well.
Okay, now,
Jordan. that's
we're still debating Everett's motion, right?
right, because we're adding conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other discussion on Everett's motion to add another condition?
I don't know. What if people feel like a bond or anything, or is it out of line?
I feel that the landowner is taking on the responsibility for this, and if it looks like he uses that property for recreation, so I can't imagine he's gonna wanna devalue it.
Yeah, well,
And not
I would
clean
hope
it
so
up.
too, but
Okay. Is there no, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor of Everett's motion, which I won't try and read again and I won't make him read again, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion to add this condition is approved. All right, is there any other discussion on the conditions?
I would make a motion to, add a condition for ticket verification.
Okay, is there a second?
Attendance verification.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Everett seconds it. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to add ticket verification, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion's carried. Now what's your ideas on, do I have a motion to pass or disapprove this agenda item or docket item?
Before we, someone, makes a motion, I just wanted to say that, going back to something Steve said about, we haven't done it before. I guess I feel like it's the first time for everything, I mean, if it's a disaster, then we know not to do it again. It seems like there are enough formal arrangements, conditions, property interests in doing it right. And I feel like it's a reasonable proposition.
Okay,
I guess due to the fact that we don't know if they're gonna have 200 people or 600 people, don't know the total outcome of the event. They didn't know timing. They will in the future, to apply. So given all of that, I'm okay making a motion that we pass the interim CUP.
all right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, Everett made the motion for this with the conditions and findings of fact. Jordan seconded it. Now, is there more discussion? Marcia?
Yeah. Tonight, I can't support it. I feel like it's being rushed, that we haven't really given, that the applicant, and not the landowner, maybe they don't totally understand our concerns, but the Mr. Schaefer organization, if you're as organized as you say you are and everything, it just feels like this is not put together in a very professional manner. And maybe we can help you improve the process. Protection of health, safety, and general welfare. So people come in, they take advantage of our beautiful, environment and our roads and everything, and then they leave. But again, I struggle to find what benefit does it have for Winona County District 5, which it's in taxpayers. We heard from the local landowners, they're going to be disturbed, getting in and out of their house. I've got first responders that are going to be responsible. Heaven forbid something happen. I've got an emergency manager concerned over it. I didn't hear from the sheriff. I didn't hear a direct concern from the sheriff. But it's just a lot can happen that requires Winona County resources. And I'm uncomfortable with the application. I just don't think it was put together as maybe clearly as it should have been. No track record in all of Southeast Minnesota, Northeast Iowa, or Western Wisconsin. I mean, we are number one. If it's a great event and it raises lots of money, well, they come back and say, I told you, lady, you should have given us the thing. But I guess with not knowing any of these things, I'm hesitant. I can't support it tonight. Maybe I'll get more comfortable before the county board votes on it. But right now tonight, I'm apprehensive.
Okay. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor of position document 7-16-26-01 with the findings of fact and the conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
nay,
Okay, I believe that the motion passed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you want a hand vote to take that number to the county board?
No, that's okay. I mean,
Didn't pass unanimously, doesn't the
No.
county board want to know that?
well, they should read them.
Well, the rules say we can use voice vote as long as everybody.
right, as long as
Yeah.
we're all here.
Yeah.
And I think
So-
it was quite evident that it was approved
But I don't
by a
see,
voice vote.
I don't see any of them listening in, so. Yeah, they'll get all the same information.
Okay,
They'll get the meeting minutes.
for the principals involved here, your next appearance is at the Winona County Board meeting on August 11th at 9 a.m. And at this time, I'd like to say that the county has gotten a lot out of the planning commission as far as time and effort for this one proposal. We have earned our commission for tonight. All right, let's go on to docket 7. Where we got?
16, page 53, if you want to,
Okay, well, all right.
Yeah.
I should go to the
your
agenda.
agenda.
That one, too. All right, let's go on to docket PC 07-16-2602. Olivia, you get the honors this time.
Pass me that strong coffee.
Good evening.
Thank you.
So one thing to mention in the packet of paper that you received at your desk outside of the agenda packet, there was an updated site plan. That was the staff mapping exhibit. I'm holding it up here if you want to look for it. It should be right behind the quarry jump information. And I have it in my presentation as well, so it'll be there too. So this request tonight, docket number 2, is to allow a single-family dwelling on less than 40 acres in the ARC zoning district, pursuant to ordinance section 10.4.636. Some site location overview. It's in section 36 of Homer Township. One of the changes from what they originally proposed, it was a 6-acre parcel. They are proposing it to be approximately 4.5. You can see that on they hand drew in where that new parcel boundary would be. I'll have another map of it too, so we can see it clearer. The parcel as it currently sits is 79 acres. So they're proposing to split the site to be 4.5 for the new residents to be on. These were the original site plans that staff created as well as the applicant. You can see there's the prime soils that they went through the variance process today. This is the updated site plan. So I'll flip back to the original for a second. You can see that it's straight lines across to the west and then it follows McNally Ridge Road. What they're proposing now would be a shorter road frontage and then cutting it in. So it would follow the hatched boundary in both of those images. Does anyone have any questions on that new boundary?
So yes, so you handed out, you've got a black line, the solid black line. Is that the new, but it's dotted up there?
Correct. Yep.
Red.
So the black line was drawn in pen by the applicant. The new one, the proposed parcel outline is hatched red and black in both of these images.
The one shows a much shorter, the hand on it appears to be a much shorter driveway, no? They're all the same length, the driveway? I'm not seeing something
You would ignore the original driveway on that one that you have,
on this one.
right?
Okay.
So
The house location on that one.
yep. So the original one, this bottom picture here, the original site plan showed the house up to the north more.
Yeah,
If we flip to the new one, you can see the house moves down. So the paper that you have, the white box was the original proposed location. The black outline is where the house is actually being proposed. Some considerations of the project. So the petitioner, Mitchell McNally, he's a co-petitioner. So like the first one, there are multiple parties involved in this application. He's the co-petitioner with the current property owners. He's the grandson, and his grandparents own the parcel that he's applying for. They do farm the farm to the south of the parcel. And so he's looking to be more involved and eventually take over farming operations. The dwelling location was chosen to minimize disruption to the active crop fields, and utilize the existing access drive that they already have on McNally Ridge Road. The variance was granted with conditions. As Jordan mentioned previously, they did choose to add a condition giving them development ability within the eastern half of that parcel. So that was added to prevent more disruption to the cropland. So what I did on the bottom image underneath the variance granted was just hatched the eastern half of the proposed parcel. So you can see there that the house is within that area, and then they wanted to add a garage, a shed, structures that were related to the residents. They could within this area, following our zoning ordinance. Anyone have any questions on that?
Would they have to get another CUP permit for that or?
No,
Okay.
no.
And that's down to 4 acres or something you said? You said something changed.
Yep, so they were originally proposing 6 acres for the whole parcel. Now it's 4.5. The Board of Adjustment wanted development to stay in the eastern half of that 4.5 acre parcel.
Yes.
Olivia, in the original proposal, the house is closer to the road, which would take less land out of production. So why did they decide to move it in farther off the road?
Yep, I can let them address that if that's okay with you when they come up. Some photos of the site, looking southwest. This is the photo on the right-hand side, and then the aerial in the bottom left. But looking southwest, you can see the farm there in the far background. The cones there show the outline of the building footprint where the house would be going. Looking to the northwest. Northeast, you can see there is a farm path that they use for machinery already. The intent was to site the home location in an area that's already not being maximized for crop production. This is that existing access road off of McNally Ridge Road. And then looking south down the road itself, this would be going out back to the main road past the farm. Homer Township heard the request at their June 8th meeting. When they heard the request, they checked the box that said no comments, but they meant to check the box that was in support of. So you'll see in your packet, there is a note to that effect. Our recommendation tonight would be that you consider all materials and testimony before making findings that support their decision. The petitioner is here and able to answer any questions as well. We did do the analysis and draft findings in support of granting the petition as a conditional use for a new dwelling on less than the required acreage. And should you decide to recommend approval, we have drafted 3 conditions for your consideration.
Are there any questions for Olivia? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, would the petitioners please step forward, state their name and address and tell us your version.
Mitch McNally, address is 24562 Pickwick Loop Road. On Everett, your question, the original drawing was just, I was on Beacon, just trying to get some sort of idea to turn into even start this whole process. And it just it was there. But then when I marked it out with the cones and actually took an aerial picture of it, that's where it ended up. Because I wasn't actually intending on building on that very first drawing because we all, you can see where my side by side is. That road goes out at a 90-degree to the one that accesses the McNally Ridge Road. And to keep everything within a buffer strip, which is the new plan compared to the first one on the picture, it's in the middle of our corn and soybeans. So it's actually disrupting more of our valuable land compared to just our buffer strip. And it being on a field drive.
Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Oh, I don't. If there's anything else you would like to know, I mean, other than,
So I guess a question, so your house will be surrounded by crops?
yeah,
Okay, all right, because you're not, yeah, you got woods, but that's quite a,
it would
Far
be
back.
down over the hill.
Yeah.
Would be woodland, but yes, my lawn would be primarily corn, soybeans and hay.
but no feedlots.
Nope.
It's unfortunate.
Grandma and grandpa already got cows. I'm good.
With,
I gotta take care of them the way it is.
with the exception of your grandparents' farm, how far down the road is the next dwelling
How far down?
in any direction?
How much distance is there between your proposed home site and the neighbors?
The next one would, the farm from this site is about a quarter mile. And then from that site, it's another quarter, maybe closer to a half. And that one is on the right side of the road, the complete opposite side of the road. And then after his, it's half to 3/4 of a mile. Because the road has a sharp 90-degree at the end of it that cuts it off, and we own part of that, and then there's a line fence, and the Olsons and Stegmeyers own the rest of everything on the back farm.
Is there any other questions? By anyone? You look like you're considering, John.
Nope,
Okay, okay.
just hanging on your every word.
Well, it's pretty deep, you know. Okay, if there's no other questions, thank you.
Thank you.
I would move to open the meeting to the public.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
John seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor of docket number 2, say aye. Opening the public hearing for docket number 2, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to speak to this public hearing, either in person or online, state your name and address. For the second time, anyone wishing to speak to docket number 2, please state your name and address. For the third time, anyone wishing to speak to docket number PC 7-16-2602, please step forward or get online clearance and state your name and address and say your piece.
Move to close the public hearing.
Jordan moves to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Louis seconds it. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Public hearing is now closed. Marcia.
I have a question basically for Jordan, so I understand this. Looking at the picture of the Board of Adjustment. So the new parcel is all of this in the red with the black dash, and that's going to be 4.5 acres. which includes, most of it is prime soils. So you restricted the condition now I look at it, the top of the page should be north. It's not always necessary, but it is north. So you said to the east.
Yeah.
Okay, to the east, no, that's the only place that they can add to the front. Is there a dimension there that you added to
Just
restrict?
the easterly half. So,
half?
could you staff bring up that, the one with the
Picture?
elevation lines for me? So, members of or a member of the Board of Adjustment was looking to limit the amount of tillable land that was gonna be used as is intended by the ordinance.
Mhm.
So in looking at this, I noticed that it just starts dropping off steeper and steeper the farther you go to the west.
Mhm.
So in discussing it with the proposed purchaser of this land, it seemed to me that the easterly part of the property was the most valuable for a building site
Mhm.
if he were to build anything in the future. And I thought that would satisfy our board as well. So that's why we went with the eastern half of that.
The eastern half of the lot. So it gives them about a 2-acre window to, okay, so.
That's the driveway. I
Yeah,
suppose.
so a lot of people are asking, okay, so we've got this supposedly, minimum acres of, I want to say 5. But we're always making adjustments to that. 40, you can do whatever you want to do without having to jump through the hoops for the county. But if you go less than 40, then you have to come get a conditional use permit. So we're taking land, so the question's being asked by constituents and such. Why are we having him buy 4.5 acres? Why isn't he just buying? Because then that goes into different ownership. If you change your crop rotation, right now you're related and your family, but even families can disagree on things. Why are we opening this, this opportunity? It's a good opportunity but things change. So why didn't we make the parcel just, like the 2 acres or something? And again, if staff can answer that, we seem to be dividing our county. Constituents are asking, why are we dividing the county up? Okay, now we got a 4-acre parcel here. We got a 3-acre parcel here. We got a 7-acre parcel here.
I mean,
When
we can only,
they want to go back to the 40-40.
only work
one
with what
quarter.
they bring us. I
They want to, some of them want to go back to the quarter rule.
Yeah, so they need a minimum 1 acre and they need to be able to fit septic and the building site and everything on it. So we
Right.
do typically recommend more than that,
Yeah.
but it's really up to what the petitioner brings. Yeah, so they can propose anything between
Anything
1
they
and 40.
want.
Yeah.
But again, like I say, I have a lot of people saying, why do we keep parceling our county out in all these little parcels here, there, and everywhere?
Well, 40 acres wasn't $400,000 when we made
Well,
that rule
true,
either.
true,
Right,
true, true, exactly. But I have a neighboring county that does still pretty much honors the 1 per quarter. And it's harder to get a variance and everything from that county. So, I mean, some people are doing it. You're absolutely right. But that's the question that's being raised, is why are we parceling out our county like this?
Okay, is there any other discussion? Everett?
Yeah, when we had our own zoning, this family farm housing was always the toughest situation. The comp plan clearly states, do not take tillable acres out of production for building. Well, if you follow the comp plan, families never get to build in the corner of the farm. Our experience has been, 50% of them get divorced and all of a sudden that's no longer owned by a family. The grandparents pass away and then these move to the farmstead and then this house gets sold to a non-family member. It doesn't stay in the family that many years in most cases. On the other hand, if you're family and you can't sell 4 acres to your grandson to build a house, I mean,
Yeah.
this is America. They should have that right. But it just totally goes against all the rules. It's really tough. I assume this isn't necessarily Class A land. It's tillable, but it must have enough slope that it'd probably be
It
B
was
or
2
C.
and 3.
So we're not taking totally prime land out. By his pictures and his wording, I take it he has done this to minimize the amount of acres out of tillable. I don't know. I mean, it's really tough. It's like, why do we have the rules if we're gonna keep doing this?
On the other hand,
John,
if the interest is keeping land actively farmed and putting a young person in their own home on a small part of that land in order to transition from the older farmers who are wanting to quit, getting too old. I mean, it enables that to continue being farmland. You know, I mean, you're right, of course. It's a trade-off and it's a gamble either way.
Mhm. Yep.
Well, and his grandpa was at the meeting earlier today and he kind of assured us, of his plans to keep things going through Mitchell. Yeah.
Well, we have in here somewhere that they're held to everything they say at this meeting. Now, he just told me that his front, back and side yard will be corn, beans and hay. So again, does that go with the conditional use permit? The next person that owns it, will it be corn, beans and hay? I totally understand. How do we transition? How do we let this happen? But again, our comp plan and what was done many years ago has changed. And again, we're becoming a postage stamp, you know.
Back in the 40-acre rule, we've also got a lot of parcels in our township. They bought the 40 acres, took it all out of ag production.
Right.
Yeah.
They have that option
Right.
also.
Now it's grass, CRP, and none of it's being farmed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it didn't solve the problems.
No.
It's a tough situation.
Yep.
Create another one.
Steve,
I just wanted to highlight, because it relates to your discussion, that the purpose of the Agricultural Resource Conservation District is to protect the working agricultural landscape of Winona County as a means to ensure the continued viability of its resources, comprehensive plan. The agricultural landscape of Winona County is more than just the land. So there's other things that could happen that preserve it. So it is possible to look at allowing a family member to keep a family farm going by parceling out the property as preserving the agricultural landscape. So I just wanted to clarify that the actual language of the ordinance does establish that, though there are specific, soil, class soils that need to be considered. But I think the language could have said preserve agricultural land, but I think this is actually worded very carefully to allow for that type of thing. Thank you.
I think we should make mandatory that they have a feedlot anytime they subdivide, a certain amount of animals, goats, cows,
I
sheep.
also asked
chicken.
where the next house was, because there's a lot of people that want to
inhibit.
preserve country living, which means the next house is at least a quarter mile or a half mile down the road.
Yes,
So at least he's not 200 yards
Infringing.
from the neighboring house.
yeah, not infringing on that. Yes.
Louis,
Well, last meeting we had one that I voted for my neighbor to add an industrial site on.
Yeah.
And testified for him to do that. But the site it went on to, yes, it would be construed to be prime farmland, but it was also a building site that he built that on. And the comprehensive plan should be taken into effect of this small 5-acre for industrial development, because that means jobs and tax base for this county too.
Mhm.
So I mean, we're not doing this in a vacuum.
right.
Guidelines.
Any,
Guidelines.
any other discussion? Do I hear a motion? Or do we have to consider the findings of fact and the
Yeah,
conditions first?
well, can be part of the
Also,
decision.
anyone have anything to say about either one of those categories?
I believe the conditions were adequate and,
What page, Jordan?
oh, I don't have it up anymore.
Yeah, what,
Page 6. Page 6, the 3 conditions on.
6? I'm looking at like 62 or 63. What's that number?
62.
57. I'm sorry, 57.
Packet.
Yeah, packet number 57
Oh, yeah.
on the far right-hand corner, bottom. Okay,
Anyway, I would move to recommend this for approval to the county board with the findings of fact and conditions as they're written.
All right, Jordan moved and John seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve docket 7-16 2602, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion is passed. And-
Fact, right,
What's that?
with the inclusion of the.
Well, with the conclusion of the findings of fact and the conditions, your next appearance will be at the county board meeting on August 11th.
Do have a question for, this is more for staff. It seems like that number one, a lot of times we've said in conditions, you know, the septic and the well and all that stuff. It seems like that condition one is trying to encompass all that stuff. And again, I don't know if it appears to be a change for me. It seems like when we've had buildings, we've had more, you know, a new home site that they have to comply with the septic and the well and everything. But I think you're trying to throw it all underneath that number one condition.
I think a lot of the zoning requirements would actually fall under number 3. So complies with all applicable federal, state, local regulations. You're right
Okay.
that sometimes the condition does state septic permit, driveway access. That's all captured under number 3.
Okay.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's good or bad. When you generalize too much, it's, well, I didn't know that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if the planning commission has a preference, we'd,
I don't, maybe if we saw, especially for a new home site, maybe if we saw a list that was included in that, what's covered in that number 3.
sure.
And so the applicant understands too. I mean, it's a very broad, general, you know.
Exactly. They do get that list when they're starting the process to say, okay, these are your first steps, but if it gets approved, these are kind of the next round of permits that you need.
Okay. All
Yep.
right.
Steve,
I will add that when I draft the findings of facts or revise them, sometimes they're different because there's a particular issue that's been associated with the property. If there's a disagreement about the septic or something like that, it may go in identified just so it's clear to everybody.
Well, they're very broad and very general, which sometimes is good and sometimes
Yeah.
not so good. Okay.
okay, Louis just left and I would ask if we could get a motion to have a 5-minute recess. So I can leave too.
So move.
So moved, yeah.
All right,
Second.
so second, all right. We are in recess.
The 6 o'clock starting time will account for days like this.
Yeah.
That's kind of rare. This much.
It is, and we imagine if we hadn't took 2 of them off of there.
Ain't done. Next 4 or 5 are all the same,
Well, we removed the last 2, so
but it's all the same
Yeah.
conditions.
So Jordan, in Alaska, when they do a jump like that.
Yeah.
Is it like off a cliff or is it like down a mountainside or what?
yeah, I think it is an old quarry too, but it's not like straight off like this would have been. It's just really steep. And they just
Tumble.
they have something rigged up to jam the gas pedal down, and they got ratchet straps holding the steering wheel straight, and somebody just reaches in and throws it in drive and it goes flying off.
I was reading it, I was kind of questioning whether it was catapult.
Yeah, I don't know how they,
Wings are out over the edge.
he was talking about a track or system or something, but
Well, if they gotta take all the fluids and stuff out of it, they're gonna push it.
yeah.
I would imagine a track is to allow it to move. so
Yeah,
you're not
and-
dragging it on the ground.
Yeah.
But the rims with no tires on a track.
Oh, yeah.
And push it, let it roll.
You wouldn't be touching 1, 2.
Tree go down, I was trying to split wood, and man, is that hard to
Yeah,
do.
that's
This one.
yeah. Not a good time to do
It
that.
might be sitting in the yard for.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like every time I usually put off all my tree work till winter, and then by the time I'm ready to do it, it's 10 below or something.
Yeah.
I think somebody should have brought a case of beer.
Yeah. Woodwork goes better when it's cold.
Yeah.
It splits better, it saws better.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, you can drag it across the ground without getting it all full of dirt.
I'm down to stumps, but they're this big. The little stuff I can throw that around, but that big stuff, god damn, you need a lift or a tractor.
Yeah.
I ain't man enough to do that anymore. Should just give it to my neighbor and say, you come and get it out of here.
Luckily, I got a logger in the family, so I can usually get a hold of him if I got something I can't handle.
I've got a splitter in my cabin, it's got a lift on it, well, that way you can roll it over. It'll pick up, 250, 300 pounds and roll it right up there, you just split.
Yeah, we have one on.
Out to deck pits.
We have an upside down splitter that goes on the front of the skid steer, so you can grab a piece of wood with the splitter and split it right in the back of a dump truck. Very nice.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go well. Francie's got a T-splitter, I don't like that.
I've never tried one of those.
I do not like it because it's always a challenge.
Oh, really?
I always fall. I like to go and just
Yeah.
cut it off in chunks and then you can put them up one at a time.
Yeah.
Downsize. That T-splitter, that joke.
Yeah, I haven't tried one. I don't know.
Problem, you want to sell it, I pay the difference to buy it one with the lift. We're both older. So get the, what we need for going forward.
So I take it most of this is non-tillable the way it looks.
The way it looks, yeah. We had one other one. First, can't remember. There's something else we did down in that little valley too.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of tillable down there.
Well. But I decided to that land.
Hit those shoreline.
Decided to keep the equipment for 50, 60 years.
know.
Do we
Tell-
go after them too and say that's not gonna be allowed, you gotta clean up your farm too, or?
Tell me
It's kind
something.
of it's a hard choice.
Right.
They do own the land.
But what I'm saying is that we shouldn't deal with these project developers. It's the landowner we're dealing with, not this guy from Wisconsin. How do we hold him responsible? Chase him around? That bothers me.
Yeah, it's all coming back to the landowner.
It would, but
All
they
right, I'm
really
gonna-
understand.
Take another minute because Ross isn't back yet, so.
Marcia, if you're requiring people to, if they have a split on the land, requiring them to have a feedlot. Could a feedlot be rabbits?
It could. It could. It takes a lot of rabbits to make a one animal unit. Like I could have, see in my day when I had my sheep, I could have had like, a sheep is only like 0.1 compared to a cow. So I could have had like, I don't know, 1,500 sheep and nobody would have needed to. I don't think you'd wanted that many sheep on my parcel.
All right.
It could be
Let's
rabbits.
put the meeting back into active mode. Let's move on to docket number 3, PC 7-16-2603. To consider the petition of William and Jacqueline Underhill, property owners, and Skip Wiesner petition who seek a conditional interim use permit regarding the following. Lou.
Hey, so this petition involves a 19-acre parcel in section 2 of New Hartford Township. You can see by the map here, the location, the blue outline is indicating roughly the location of the 19-acre parcel. It's located in between in a kind of an interesting area where it's a valley that's between the eastbound and westbound lanes of Interstate 90. I know it looks really close, like it's in between there, but the valley floor below the road, it's probably 50 to 100 feet below the road. And so when you're down in the valley there, you don't really notice the highway so much as the map might indicate. But Dakota Valley Creek runs through the valley. It's located about 1.3 miles from the city of Dakota, which is indicated on the map in the solid blue line towards the river on the east side of the map. And that's in the southeastern portion of the county.
I'm sorry, what did you say the solid blue line represented?
The solid blue line, the circle, like the rounded edge square, that's the 19-acre parcel.
Yeah,
is
okay, I
right
thought you
there.
said something about it was the city of,
Yeah, city of Dakota is the black line
yeah.
over on the
Okay,
eastern
you
side.
said blue.
You
Did
said
I?
blue,
I
that's-
apologize. Sorry.
Makes sense.
Kind of know the valley.
I heard myself say black and I must have said blue.
Okay,
Thanks. So the site overview of the 19 acres. It's proposed to be split into 4 parcels. This docket number, PC 07162603 is parcel number 1, which is on the left-hand side of the map there. It's approximately 7 acres in size and has greater than 395 feet of road frontage. The reason that I'm including acres and road frontage beyond just like basic fact finding and presentation is because the subdivision regulations, it's critical for triggering those subdivision regs. So if you're 5 acres or larger, or 300 feet of road frontage or larger, that split doesn't go towards the subdivision standards. If you're below that, you're allowed 2 splits. We call them small splits. So below 5 acres and less than 300 feet of road frontage. If the third small split would trigger the need for platting, I guess is a way to look at it. In this situation, there's an existing home that was split off of the original parcel since 1970 when the ordinance was adopted. So that would be the first small split off of that original parcel. So essentially, when you're looking at creating new parcels here, you'd be allowed 1 more small split without having to worry about subdivision regulations and platting process. And so I just wanted to kind of set that up when we're talking about subdivision. Road frontage and lot size are key. And in this proposal, we're only looking at 1 lot, parcel number 3, that would be under that threshold. So they would be with the neighboring property there. I'll point it out real quick. Right here, this would be this would be small split number 1. And then this will be small split number 2. The rest of the parcels all meet the 5 acres and 300 feet. And so we don't need to worry about subdivision regulations. So just wanted to let you know about that. The existing farmhouse of the 19 acres is located on parcel number 3 as well, on the corner there. Runaway Drive as well as Dakota Valley Drive carry a 65-foot center setback from the center line. So those are some of the key aspects of that. We'll get into shoreland because that carries its own set of criteria and standards on the next slide. So like I said, there is shoreland on this parcel. You can see the proposed dwelling is roughly 275 feet from the creek. And the shoreland district is defined as 300 feet from the stream. So, or from a public water. Technically, it's the ordinary high water level of the public water. And so the mapping there shows the shoreland district and the proposed dwelling, just nicking the corner of that, approximately 275 feet away.
So Lou, you're saying the whole blue parcel is in shoreland?
The parcel is primarily in shoreland.
Okay.
You can see in the northeastern corner, there's an area that's not, and that's where most of the dwelling is located.
And those the little white boxes, is that the?
That's the proposed dwelling,
Building
rough
site?
location of the building site, yes. The rest of the parcel is wetland and steep slopes and kind of natural resource area that's really not
Floodplain?
buildable.
Is it floodplain?
There's floodplain down there, yep.
Okay.
There's a 100-foot setback from the stream as well. So obviously this is meeting that 100-foot setback, but that would, between the wetland, the floodplain and the shoreland, most of the parcel would be rendered unbuildable, except for this area where they're looking at building. Part of this proposal, it's,
So when you, because I've been asked, so if we grant these as each conditional use permit, the new owner, are they going to be restricted to where that little white box and such is?
roughly that location, yep.
Okay,
Because
they
of the
can't vary
setback
from that.
requirements or?
Just because that's the best, it's the best location for building. The rest,
How would a new land, somebody, oh, I love this parcel,
Yeah.
how are they gonna know that's,
well,
is there a restriction? Is it recorded somewhere that that's the building envelope?
technically they could get a little bit closer. So, I mean, they've indicated that that's approximately where the house is gonna go. But I would imagine that it could be anywhere, Marcia, in this area. 65 feet from the road
Okay,
and probably to the tree line.
all right.
But you also have to provide for a septic system, a primary and secondary location for septic. So I know that they have had somebody out on site, a contractor to evaluate it a little bit. I don't think they've done any soil work. So that's something that they'll still have to prove and be able to show that they can provide a location for their septic system and the house in that area.
We at that level already, that there's proposed building? I thought we were just dividing up the lots.
We're dividing up the lots, but I've asked them to show a rough location for the dwelling. We usually do because that would have that would impact whether they're meeting setbacks and can meet that standard. So I always ask them to put that on there.
Okay.
They don't have to be exact, but they need to be, I mean, we want to know that they're looking at that area and not the area that's down in the steep slopes or the floodplain or with close to the 100-foot setback.
Okay.
And so this is indicating that they're kind of in a safe location there for the house site. What else do I want to say about that? So the shoreland district does require a conditional use permit. So we have a conditional use permit on this lot for a new dwelling on less than 40 acres and also a new dwelling within the shoreland district. So there's the 10 criteria for a new dwelling on less than 40. And then there's an additional 4 criteria for a new dwelling in the shoreland. So you'll see that in the staff report and in the findings of fact. There'll be a total of 14 criteria that we're making findings for. Also just have a map here showing soils. It is, the soil standard is satisfied, so there's no need for a variance here. And it's because it's, the class 2 and 3 soils make up less than 40% of the entire parcel. So our calculations are that they're right around 32% is class 1 and 2 soils. And so they would meet the standard in chapter 10.4.76. Have another site plan here just showing the contours. Those are 2-foot contours, showing slopes. And we're at about 2 to 6% slope in the area where they're looking at building. As you go closer to the river to the south, there is more of an embankment there and it gets steeper. And so again, with the access and the flatter slopes makes that area a better place to build.
Those two bodies of water, are they private ponds or are they natural?
Those are, well, I'm not exactly sure, honestly. They are within a mapped wetland. And so I think that they're natural
So there would be
wetlands.
restrictions to building too close to them.
Right, there is a 100-foot setback from mapped wetland areas.
It is a wetland. Okay.
Yep. Yep. But that building site that they've chosen on this site is well away and is able to meet that 100-foot setback as well. The area will need an archaeological survey because it's it's a greenfield site, so it's being developed for the first time. And it's within a high probability area for archaeological sites. So just want to let you know that that's something that will be required prior to a development certificate being issued. We have a couple photos here to give you an idea of what the site looks like. This is looking southwest towards the proposed new parcel from Runaway Drive. So you can see the hayfield there that they'd be proposing to build in, and then the neighboring home that's on that first small split is in the background there.
Before you leave that photo, you have condition number 4, existing forested areas between the proposed dwelling and public water body, Dakota, shall be maintained. So is that the trees I'm seeing in the?
Yep, that'd be the forested area. And the reason that I did include that is just because of the shoreland district and some of the language that's included with shoreland. There's another picture looking back towards the east on Runaway Drive in the foreground, which is gravel. It's also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's a dead end road. It dead ends back beyond this property. And then we're looking towards the east, towards County Road 101, which is paved. New Hartford Township has considered the request and signed the township acknowledgement form and have indicated support as it relates to the proposal. And we have attached 5 conditions for your consideration. That's all I have for now. Do you have any questions up front? Yeah, Everett?
Your original picture, you've got a barn on both ends of this property, and you're gonna put 2 more parcels in between there. How far are these from a feedlot?
From a feedlot? I think you might want to refer to the staff report. I believe I did indicate it was 2,000 feet on one side and maybe 1,500 on the other side or something like that.
That's farther than what's on the picture.
Possibly, and I don't know if which one you're looking at, but yeah, they're probably, I mean, they're a ways away, yeah, and they're smaller feedlots as well. They are. One of them is actually within the shoreland district, so it's an older one that wouldn't be allowed these days, and they're not allowed to expand if they're within in the shoreline either. The other one is further towards Dakota. And we did look at those, and I had Brian pull the registration numbers, and they're fairly small and registration as far as what we have.
Question was brought up by a constituent that lives in that area when they built back some time ago, floodplain maps. And I know that's federal government. They're always playing with floodplain maps. So when were those, how current are those?
Well, the effective maps are from 1984. And they're not super accurate. But so that's what they would have been operating under if the neighbors had to go through some sort of letter of map amendment or had to meet some floodplain standards. That it would have been the 1984 maps. We do have newer data for like the over 10 years now, and it hasn't been adopted yet because of
Will
different
that-
issues,
those
but.
New maps change anything down in that valley?
In that valley, well, I would imagine that they would change something. Usually they've become more accurate and in some cases smaller. So in this area, I wouldn't, any of these proposed sites, I wouldn't have any concerns about floodplain of where the building sites are located.
Okay,
Just because of the height. I mean, they're like, the building sites are like 16 to 24 feet above the creek.
All right, well, that was a question and asked.
Yeah.
We're meeting shoreland requirements and the creek. That's there's setbacks from the creek too.
There's a 100-foot setback from the streams. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Marcia,
thank you.
back in 2007,
Yeah, the flood, big flood.
yeah, we had no problems at all in Dakota Valley or the valley I'm in,
Yeah,
which is just
that
over
was okay.
the hill.
Yeah.
Because that, the watershed is so short.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different than when you get over to Pickwick and.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay, all right. Well, there were concerns of some of the neighbors that had built prior.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a good point. I did want to point that out, that we did get 2 public comments that are on your, in front of you.
In the packet.
And
Sure.
expressing concerns with the number of lots. And things like floodplain. I think they were a little confused on a couple of issues. They thought that there was a variance that was being requested and there's not, but still do want to bring your attention to those 2 comments. And then I'll save the Weiser Law Office letter for the final 2 lots 3 and 4. They've pulled those and are wanting to reconfigure those. So I'll come back and request those at a later date. But at this time, we're just looking at lot number 1. On this docket number.
Is there any other questions for Lou?
I do, I'm sorry. Lou, this is a little different. Usually we do a conditional permit when we have a specific building project. Now, how is that going to change? Now we're just dividing the lots up. How is that going to change the person who buys the parcel and wants to build the house? Is it going to require anything different? I mean, it's something different.
Yeah, no, I mean, we get this, I mean, the difference here is that there's 4 lots and they're asking for them all at the same time.
Right.
As opposed to, sometimes there's a number of years in between, one lot or one parcel and a second parcel that might come on a piece of property. But otherwise, it'd be the same process, if a permit, a conditional use permit is issued, that transfers to the new property owner, runs with the land. It's their responsibility to do their due diligence. And I mean, we'll have a good record of the decision that was made and conditions and limitations of that conditional use permit. Plus, they're not able to build until they get their construction permits, which would be your development certificate and septic permit. So if it transfers beforehand, they still need to come in and get that, and we'd be in consultation with those new owners before they were able to start to build.
Well, this one is the biggest, I think this is the biggest lot. And there's some concerns in the neighborhood. So yes, there's a building envelope there, but again, they're going to own the land, they're going to pay the taxes on it, but what can they do with the rest of the property is a question. Can they take their 4-wheelers and make paths and, run up and down? As you've got sensitive lands, you got a creek, you got steep slope and everything. But again, I guess it just goes with any land that you buy.
Do that right now.
Yeah, they could. But again, it's a change to the neighborhood and so there's some concerns about what would happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is an area that is, it doesn't have a huge agricultural component and it has been, you know, there's been a number of lots over the years that have, you know, that have been developed and approved. So, and with its, you know, its proximity to Dakota, it is an area, I know Dresbach is, the township is really interested in finding areas that are, you know, for housing. I mean, for people on the comprehensive plan, I mean, I could see this area as being an area that could change to like a rural residential service, but at this point, it is still agricultural zoned, and the comp plan does indicate agriculture for and natural resources for the future land use too, so.
Any other questions for Lou? Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, at this time, do I hear a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Or wait, we gotta have the
Petition.
land petitioner speak, or give him a chance to speak.
Yeah, my name's Bill Underhill. I live at 30815 Old Hickory Road. It's a La Crescent address. Actually live in Dresbach. What would you like to know?
Well, I guess first off, do you have any further information that we should consider? And then we can
Well-
ask you questions after that.
Yeah, well, Lou pretty much said it too. This is a real nice place to build. It fits right in with the rest of the properties in Dakota Valley. And actually, I grew up in Dakota Valley, and when I grew up, there was probably 6, 7 farms there, you know, that milk 10, 12 cows or whatever. But that's not the case anymore. There's probably, I'm thinking, 1 farm, Bauer. He's still hanging in there farming. But the rest of the Dakota Valley is pretty much just what I want to do. They're beautiful building sites. Yeah, I think it fits in perfect with the area, and I know people are looking for places to build, and like I say, I think this makes some real nice sites.
Okay, is there anyone on the planning commission? Everett?
Just want to clarify, at the present time, do you own this property?
Yes, I do, yeah.
And you're applying for this CUP to make it a buildable site so you can sell it, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Yes, okay, so I've always questioned why 101 was paved. I mean, it's a road to nowhere really, and how it ever got paved. So when you sell these lots are on the gravel part of the road, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Well,
tell them it's probably gonna stay gravel, because I live in New Hartford Township and our property taxes aren't gonna make that a paved road. That is one thing, you know, when people move out, oh, it's a paved road, but they're on gravel, but they think, oh, then my road's gonna get paved. Just so disclose to them, it's probably gonna stay gravel,
Yes.
please.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because I don't want my taxes to go up to pay for a paved road down in that valley.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
Any other questions?
And it's just a short distance on gravel.
I know, but a lot of people from the city, they don't understand gravel roads. You know what I'm talking about?
Totally.
Yeah. No, it ain't gonna get paved just because you moved here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Now, at this time, do I hear a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Louis moves.
Second.
John seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of opening the public hearing for PC 7-16-26-03, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The public hearing is now open. All those wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and also those on the internet, if there is anyone, if you want to speak, please get off mute and state your name and address also.
I'd like to speak to the board if possible. My name is Doug Soper. I live at 44530 Runaway Drive.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I guess I have a couple of things. I live right across from these lots or proposed lots. One of the reasons I bought the property that I bought was because it was a nice area to be in and was relatively sparsely populated. And for a long time, I lived there for 10 years. And for a long time, it was great. And the opportunity came along for that property to come up for sale. And and a bill came along and purchased the property, which is fine. You know, he has every right to do that. It ended up, over time, he wants to put 4 pieces, take that 19-acre property and bust it up into 4 pieces. And that's fine, you know, whatever. I was assuming at the time he was going to build on one of those lots, which may still be the case. But as of right now, I don't know that that's the case. And my concern is that he comes in, busts this 9 acres up into 4 different lots, makes his money, and he leaves. And the rest of us that live in this, what used to be a quiet valley, has 4 more people, 4 more families, 4 more sets of vehicles, at the minimum, going in and out of what used to be a fairly quiet valley. That's one of my concerns. You know, is just population density going up in a nice, quiet little valley. I'm not trying to say that there shouldn't be any building on that site whatsoever. That would be unfair. But what is unfair is for somebody to come in, bust it up into 4 different properties, and then turn around and leave the mess behind. You know, a couple of nice properties would be fine. The population density, the amount of people living near each other would be relatively acceptable or not acceptable, but you know, I don't think that would be an issue. But when you start gerrymandering and asking for variances upon variances or exceptions to the rule so you can break up a piece of property to sell them and get what you possibly can out of that 19 acres, that kind of goes against the principles of what you guys are doing. You guys are trying to look at a piece of property and see how it can be, how the rules can be followed or should be followed. And the only reason this guy isn't coming in to do this so that he can build a house for himself and have a house for his family, like you guys just talked about in your earlier meeting with McNally. This guy's coming in and he's cutting it up into 4 different parcels and he's leaving. And that sits wrong with me. Not just in the fact that it affects me directly or my family directly, but because it affects everybody in that valley. You know, it's from the very beginning where you come in, all the extra traffic going by them, and everybody in between. So I'm in short, I'm against it. I would ask the board to take my my opinion to heart and modify the 4 lots if possible to be less. I don't want my issue to be something that keeps him from building at all. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just bringing it up that I think 4 is getting a little out of hand. So that's what I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Okay, for the second time, is there anyone wishing to speak or on the internet wishing to speak to docket number 3? Please step forward and state your name and address, or if you're on the internet, get yourself off mute and state your name and address.
Good evening. I'd like to speak if I could. My name is Bo O'Hanlon. My address is 26532 County Road 17. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak in front of the board. I've come to harass the proper county board more times more than maybe is my fair share. I have a vested interest in this situation. I grew up in La Crescent. I've spent well over a decade in this exact valley. I'm really good friends with several people that live in the valley. I'm a young farmer. I raise cattle and hogs, and historically that lot was a small farm. And part of the difficulties as a young farmer who didn't inherit the means to, jump into a full-size operation is the cost of land. And part of that is because of this trend of older individuals or wealthier individuals coming in, swooping in a perfectly good-sized farm, and then dividing it into smaller lots to line their pockets. And frankly, it's a tasteless money grab. The intent of Winona County is to maintain our agricultural heritage, right? And so allowing people to come in and essentially subdivide lots that could have otherwise been placed back into a working farm after that house burned down, it's something that I think should be discouraged, because it really bodes poorly as a trend for young farmers like myself to be able to get our foot in the door on these small lots that could have been used for that. There was, albeit not officially tillable, that at one point was a cornfield, that at one point housed finished steers for being finished. It could have been productive pasture land again. And so seeing it turned into a tasteless subdivision and increasing the demand on, to Marcia's point, a very poorly maintained paved road, albeit I would have almost rather it be gravel. It'd probably be a little smoother. It's just going to add to the damage and the use of the valley, and it's going to take away from all the homeowners who have been in a secure position where they're not having to worry about a ton of traffic in and out of there. So I hope the board takes that into consideration and maybe lowers the expectation on what's allowed for that size of a parcel as far as what's able to be placed on those lots, if they're able to be divided at all, preferably not. Frankly, if you ask me, I think somebody should be able to buy it, put up a single family dwelling, and maybe get a few cows and put them back where they were. That would be ideal. So I hope the board considers that agricultural heritage and tries to maintain that in the valley and stops this trend of converting our small agricultural lots into even smaller ones. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay. For the third time, anyone wishing to speak to docket number 3, come forward, state your name and address, and if you're on the internet, please get off mute and state your name and address. Is there anybody else out there, Dicey, or don't? Ross?
There are 2 additional online, but they're not unmuted themselves.
So, okay. Well, at this time, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Jordan moves to close the public hearing.
Second.
Mike seconds it. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Public hearing is now closed. I guess it's time for discussion.
Well, I'll go ahead since I'm living in that area. As we know, a huge demand for places to build houses. And that area is already popular for that purpose. I mean, it's only back in the area where we're talking, we're only like 3-4 minutes from the interstate. What we're talking about for the land, it's not prime soils. The likelihood, I mean, to say that we shouldn't allow it to be split off because someone might want to put a couple cows there. It's very, very iffy. The parcel is 7 acres. And the parameters for not considering a subdivision are all in place. It's not below those parameters. Years and years and years ago, I was kind of a back to the land hippie guy. And I read a book, 5 Acres in Independence. And it just told how, using the old technologies, of course. In fact, it was written about around the turn of the 20th century, I think. Where, people could take 5 acres and do something to support their family with it. This is 7 acres. The size doesn't preclude doing something small scale agricultural if someone wants to. So I would support it.
Jordan.
As Lou said earlier, when we were in our comp plan meetings and brainstorming about areas where there could be potential development, this just feels like one of those areas to me. We got some similar areas by Stockton that come to my mind right away, and this is almost the same. And the issue is that no matter where you think of those areas, all the people that already live there think that that's not the right place.
I totally concur with you. And my opinion is that this is the 21st century, and I just was told that USDA wants to shut down their office building in Washington, DC, or one of the two, because there's nobody working in there. And I think that if we think that we're going to have an agricultural enterprise on even the whole 19 acres, that's not going to happen in this day and age. Marcia.
It's a quandary, not in my backyard. I live out in the country. I got my acreage. I don't want any neighbors closer, but again, as we've discussed, I don't own it also. You can't control it. It's unfortunate. The one thing though is that when we look at all the lots, they're all open to the road, the way I'm looking at in the proposed building site. But then I'm looking at page 91. At the bottom of the page, it says, things upon consideration. I don't know if any, I think we've met all the setbacks. It says increased setbacks from ordinary high water. I think we've covered that. But then we have that thing, limitations on the natural vegetation to be removed or a requirement that additional vegetation be planted. The neighborhood's trying to protect what it looks like. Again, they're trying to protect their view shed, which I can appreciate view sheds, but I don't know if we can. So we're saying that didn't we say in this particular lot that they can't cut any of those trees down? Lou, didn't you indicate the back part of the lot can't be?
Yeah, and that's part of it. I mean, what you were reading there is actually included in the shoreland ordinance for consideration of a new dwelling. And the point of the shoreland in this scenario is to and the regulations of the shoreland ordinance are to protect the water body, both the recreation aspect of the public water, as well as the environmental aspects that go along with riparian areas. But in this case, Dakota Valley Creek, there aren't, fishing easements through there. It's not a navigable stream. A lot of these ordinances are statewide, so that what they had in mind was that it was a navigable stream. People might have boats on the water. This isn't one of those situations, but you still want to, the idea is that you're protecting the riparian corridor along the river. And so that's where we included that condition.
Okay, so yes, everybody wants more houses and everybody wants their little piece of heaven and everything, and is this applicable? But they're all gonna deal with additional traffic, coming in and out, and it is, I see more of a conflict when the next person buys the lot and they're thinking, oh, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other thing, and then all of a sudden, no, you can only build in this little corner of the lot, and you have to have space for 2 septics, and no, it's probably gonna stay a gravel road. I see more of a, how do we eliminate the conflict of the next buyer? What are they gonna realize? And again, that it's buyer beware. You're supposed to know what you're buying and such, but I'm sorry, the wife wants it, the husband's gonna buy it, and they're gonna figure it out afterwards. They're not gonna ask all the right questions as they're buying it, is what I foresee. And I don't know how we control that. I don't know.
Well, I think this permit doesn't give us the authority
No.
to take and
No.
worry about that.
But we have to look health, safety, and general welfare. So it's the whole neighborhood, and it's the new people coming into the community, and there's a lot of things that go into that. And yes, can we control it? No, but again, how do we make people aware of what, they can and can't do with a particular parcel? I don't know. I mean, realtors will tell them anything they want to hear to get the commission and the sale. We know that.
Everett.
Like Jordan said on the planning commission, we've been told to draw pictures and try and find places to build houses. I mean, we need more houses for Winona County. We've all picked these type of areas as that location. As far as the individual that bought it to parcel it off, well, everybody had the opportunity. Anybody could have done that. So it's not that he's a bad guy.
No.
If the proposed feedlot rules would go through, you can't have cattle this close to a stream on this amount of slope. You're not allowed to pasture cattle on that if the new rules go through.
True.
So it is done as
Yep.
agriculture at that point in time.
Yep.
Like it or not, we don't seem to have a lot of say in the feedlot rules that are being proposed. So I totally understand the neighbor's point of view, but we're only talking 3 houses. If you have 2 people in each house, that's not that many cars. Now, if somebody comes in with 10 kids in the family, that's a little different, but 10 years later, the kids are gone and you're back to 2 people. So I totally understand the neighbor's point of view, but everything we're being told is find these places to build houses, and here is one.
Anybody else? Okay, has everybody looked over the findings of fact and the conditions, and they're satisfied with them?
And again, are we looking at page 92? Is that? Help me out, staff. Is that the ones listed on 92, or is that part of something else? There's 5 there.
Those will be the conditions, yes.
On 92. the
Yep.
5. Okay. All right.
Okay, at this time, do I hear somebody wanting to?
I move that
Make a
we
motion.
adopt the proposal with findings, effects, and conditions.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Everett seconds it. John made it. Is there any other discussion?
I have a question for legal. When this is, if this goes through and it's platted as a separate parcel, then does the conditional use permit get recorded on the deed? So again, they would know. See, I'm going through an issue. I bought a property 50+ years ago. There was a declared right of way, the neighboring joint. All of a sudden now he wants to put the driveway in with the right of way. I knew the right of way was there and everything, and it was recorded on the deed. So because we're saying the owners of the property, which this conditional use permit is issued. So does it get recorded on the deed that it has a conditional use permit?
So, yeah, it runs with the property. It will be recorded and, yeah, I mean, it's good practice for anybody buying property to go pull the records and do
Sure.
a title search to see what the
Okay,
conditions.
and I mean, there's nothing really outstanding there, but again, it's just making clarity that they know what, that one about you can't cut down the trees.
Okay,
Yeah,
any other discussion?
Just to comment on that, yes, it's in here and that's good, but doesn't the ordinance state that when you move out in the country, you can't complain about common ordinary agricultural practices? But at 10 o'clock at night, here's the sheriff saying, I had to come out here because somebody complained you've got combine lights on after dark. Yeah,
Yes.
We're all familiar with that.
so it's there, but they don't follow.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of docket PC. Well, let's see. What docket PC 7-16-26-3. Say aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is passed and this one goes to the county board on August 11th, 2026. Steve, did I make another mistake?
Did we have a motion and a second before the vote?
Yeah.
I proposed.
Okay, thank you.
Everett second.
All right.
Okay, now we got.
Now I guess we get to do the same book, different chapter.
Yep, the second item tonight, very similar to the first, for parcel number 2. To allow a new dwelling on less than 40 acres in the ARC district. Our map, same map, same location for the 19-acre parcel that we heard for the previous petition. Here we are with the proposed lot splits. We're on parcel number 2. So this is a 5-acre parcel with approximately 300 feet of road frontage, again, meeting the subdivision standard. You can see the feeding areas on this one where it was previously pastured in a existing hayfield. Very similar as the last one. It has a large area of riparian, the creek running through wetlands in the low areas, an embankment that's forested, and then the building site in the hayfield. This is the shoreline district as it lays across parcel number 2. The proposed building site would be able to be outside of the shoreland. So this one only has the 10 criteria for less than 40 acres, not the additional 4 for being within the shoreland district. Proposed building site is approximately 300 feet from the stream and 22 feet above the ordinary high water level. Here we have soils. The soils cover a little bit more of this parcel, but still under the 40%. My calculation was that it was at approximately 38% of the parcel were the class 1 and 2 soils. Thereby meeting the soil standard and not requiring a variance. Here's the 2-foot contours on this site and the blue area indicating approximately the building site envelope. You can see that the contour lines widen out a little bit on that side of the field, so it's getting even flatter on that side of the field as you get closer to the farmstead. Again, archaeological survey would be required as it hasn't been built on before. And it is an area of high probability archaeological site, primarily because of its proximity to the water resource and the flatness of the slopes in the area. A couple photos. This is looking southeast towards the new parcel. You can see County Road 101 is in the background there, heading towards Dakota. This probably encompasses parcel number 1's building site as well as parcel number 2's further back on the photo. And again, close to the building site location here, looking to the east towards County Road 101, which is paved, and Runaway Drive, which is the gravel road in the forefront. Again, the township has indicated support and signed the township acknowledgement form. And we have 4 conditions attached to this permit. It does not have the condition for the trees because it's not in the shoreland district.
It's not in shore.
This one's not in the shoreland district, even though the setting is pretty similar. Any questions on this parcel? And this.
So could I go in there, if I bought it, could I go in there and clear cut the whole lot?
No, there are standards for
Not cut down, I mean.
there are standards for, you need a permit if you're over 1 acre in the shoreland or shore impact zone. And it's I mean, you could do a limited amount of tree cutting and thinning in the area. But clear cutting, no.
But that's not in the shoreland.
Yeah, but the trees are.
It's a tree, the other one it is.
Yeah, the forested area is within the shoreline.
Okay, the forested area is.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just the building site.
Just the building site is not, yeah.
Okay.
Lou, you're talking about these archaeological digs. Now, can they do that for all 4 parcels, or is it you gotta do each one separately?
I mean, Bill could have it done for all 4, and they could come out once and do the whole thing. That would be acceptable.
That's the landowner's.
But he could also sell them individually, and then if they come forward individually, then each one would have to do a separate one.
It's the property owner's expense.
No, it's the county's expense. The county pays for the archaeological survey. So, I mean, it might behoove us to talk to Bill and it might be cheaper actually to get it done all at once.
So what happens, you go out there and dig and you find a dinosaur bone of an Indian had arrow in it. Does that mean it's not buildable? We gotta dig more?
Well, we've never had that experience yet here, but there is a process for doing that. We have the archaeologists would have a recommendation, as well as the tribal entities would also be able to comment on that. They might have to do more excavating, or ideally they'd try to build in an area that would not impact that resource. They'd have, if they found something, there would be a discussion about whether it was how they put it, had the potential for being important, essentially. There's some section 106 language that, indicates whether it's essentially an important site or something that is typical and doesn't necessarily need to be saved.
They're like an effigy mound compared to an
Well,
arrowhead.
if it's a burial site, that's completely different, so effigy mounds aren't burial, but they are generally, they're kind of, they're kind of special sites. If you were to find like some flakes from an arrowhead or maybe even an arrowhead, I think we did find one site that had an arrowhead, but they indicated that it wasn't something that we needed to be worried about disturbing.
But
Um,
are you sure? I thought the landowner paid for that.
No, the county does. The county
Well, we
pays for
should
those.
Change that.
Yeah.
How do we change that?
Well, this time I think you're too late.
I was almost sure it was the
Could
land.
add a condition. And
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
can-
seriously, the
we can-
the county has to pay for, that seems like that's the overlap of government reach and private property.
When the ordinance was adopted, that was the compromise. That they'd go ahead and adopt it, but they're not gonna make the property owners pay for it. This was back in 2011.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
vote for that thing
And
either.
so ever since then, the county has been paying for the ones
And what do
that are
they,
required.
what do they, dollars and cents? Of course, we haven't done a lot of them,
I
but
think, I think
sure
they're
it's more
they're
than
right around $1,000 for a survey.
yeah, and it'll be twice that now in 2026. I mean,
No, that's what they are now.
oh, that's.
Yeah.
good.
I think, back in the beginning, I want to say that they were around 500. And now they're around 1,000 for that.
They're just making a survey, right? I mean.
Yeah, we're still contracting with Mississippi Valley Archaeology Center out of La Crosse.
Put that on the short list of things to review.
We can get you some more information about the ordinance.
Looking at
citation
Ross
if you
and
want.
Steve, put it on your short list of things to
this
review.
is like a $500 permit with $1,000.
Cost. Cost to us. You're paying for it. Yeah.
Well, so it's gonna be
Tax dollars.
total, it's gonna be $450 for the conditional use permit, $400 for the development certificate, and $350 for the septic permit.
That all goes towards staff time.
Yeah. Then we're.
It probably doesn't cover that.
Okay, is there any other questions for Lou? Thank you, Lou. Now, does, Bill, do you want to come back again or you?
Same thing.
I don't have a question for it, but you reckon I'll go to just hold it.
That's what it's already check for.
Yeah. Is he willing to pay for it?
Hello, you still remember me, right?
Legally, you should state your name and address again.
Yeah, Bill Underhill, 30815 Old Hickory Road, La Crescent, Minnesota. And, yeah, pretty much, same as the other lot. I think it's, I think it fits in good with the valley and, beautiful lot, beautiful place to build. And I can't see where, you know, one of the neighbors there was worried about increased traffic, you know, I think that's pretty minimal, you know. And I should mention, I'm surprised he complained. He lives right across the road. And the place was just like a junkyard before. All the neighbors were, cattle were out all the time. It was a problem. I thought I did him a favor, but you can't please everybody, I guess.
Well, I have a question, in the interest of taxpayers. Since you bought this basically for developmental purposes, would you be willing to pay for that archaeological dig instead of putting that off on the taxpayers? I assume you're gonna make enough on this that you could cover that and still be profitable.
What would you say is $1,000? Is that what you said?
Ballpark figure.
Wasn't,
But
yeah.
that would be times 4. Cause all
I
four
don't
are-
know if they charge, would they charge it for each individual one or would they?
Ross,
We
But
could
it's only gonna be the hayfield, I would imagine.
I
don't know what
I don't know. Ross, can you
highlight.
come to this point?
That would be something we would have to determine, you know, based on what they come out and determine what area needs to be examined. And based on the amount of area and the amount of time would determine the expense.
Okay,
But we could get maybe a rough ballpark before the county board determines.
We could have them look at it and give us an estimate.
Yeah, give us a guesstimate. Okay, right.
that satisfy you,
Yeah,
Everett?
I mean, I think as part of the investment process, that should be part of
Kind of
your
a
expense.
compromise, yeah.
Yeah. You know, if it's $1,000, 4,000, I'm gonna have a little problem with that probably. There was one area there where the homestead already was. I don't see why they have to do one there. You know, I would think it would just be lot number 1 and not number 2. Wouldn't you think, Lou?
Yeah, the lot 3, we wouldn't be concerned with because it's an existing lot, but 1, 2, and 4 would require.
Okay,
But they could probably do this all as one job, right? It wouldn't
yeah.
necessarily
It's a
cost
lot of
$1,000.
Research work, if I remember right.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, is there any further discussion amongst the planning commission members?
I'll move to open the hearing to the public.
Second.
All right. Jordan moved to open the public hearing. Louis seconded it. Seeing no other discussion at this time, all those in favor of opening the public hearing for docket PC 0716-2604. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Public hearing is now open. I haven't lost my voice yet, so all those in attendance wishing to speak to docket 4, please step forward and state your name and address, and those online, get yourself off mute and state your name and address. And all the people that step forward or get off on the internet, please take and say your piece.
I'm back again to be annoying. It's Bo O'Hanlon, 26532 County Road 17. I'd like to push back a bit on a couple of the board members' comments. I have a profitable cattle operation on less than 13 acres. So, I mean, at your guys' age, I can see how it's really easy to sit from your ivory towers and you know, talk down to small producers because we're not necessarily at the scale you are. But to insinuate that it's not able to be done is short-sighted. Maybe you're not able to do it, but there are people within our community that can and are motivated to do so and work within the confines of what current land prices are and what current stock prices are and navigate that market. I will say also, I find it ironic that the Planning and Zoning Commission showed up on their PowerPoint, literal photos of a hayfield. The current landowner is addressing it as a hayfield, and then you all sit there and say that it's not agricultural. I also push back on the interpretation of the modern potential for the feedlot rules. That entire 19-acre parcel could absolutely be put back into cattle production with proper fencing to mitigate the access to that portion of it that's too steep. So I disagree with that strongly. I think that this is maybe a situation where the board is letting the potential for increased revenue blind themselves from the consequences of people who are going to be around long enough to see this trend cause damage to our agricultural heritage in the county. And I think that that's unfortunate. Thank you for your folks' time.
For the second time, anyone wishing to speak or online to docket number 04, please step forward or get yourself off mute, state your name and address, and have your say. For the third and final time, anyone wishing to speak to docket number 7-16-2604, please step forward, state your name and address, or if you're on the internet, get yourself off mute, state your name and address, and state your piece. Have we got any activity on the internet? Okay. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Everett moves,
I'll second that.
Jordan seconds it. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Opposed, nay. The public hearing is now closed. Marcia,
To address Mr. Hannon's issue with feedlot. So now if we're creating all these small parcels, there still is an opportunity to somebody to have small animals, correct? Maybe not cattle, but we have a large expansive goat population growing, and I was a sheep producer. You don't need the total acreage, but what is it all restricted now that they wouldn't be allowed to even have like 10 animal units, or what's the restriction?
No, they would still be allowed to have animals. It's just a matter of, with the smaller parcels, the ability to do that, it becomes harder.
Right.
But even within our rural residential zoning district, that allows for, people to keep animals and livestock.
So each one, except maybe that one very small one that we're not discussing tonight, each one of them could have a small.
They
herd that-
certainly could. It's just a matter of, the setback, the feedlot setback comes into play at 10 animal units. So if you're under 10 animal units, there's no setback and you could have up to that many. So, and it is like the commenter indicated, as long as it's not within, it's not a feedlot within the shoreland district
Mhm.
or within that wetland, or, I'm not the feedlot officer. I don't know all the nuance
Be
of the
selective,
ordinance.
still animal agriculture, even on these small
There could be some, yes.
parcels.
Yep.
But like I say, we got a huge goat population. At least I'm relating to the 4-H project last week at the county fair. We got a lot of people raising goats, and a goat doesn't take much space.
Sure, yeah.
So I mean, there's.
Yeah,
that.
those smaller types of
Sure.
things, maybe a couple horses, a few goats, chickens,
Still does.
small numbers could still be
Small
accommodated.
numbers of production agriculture still could be accommodated.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
all right, is there any other
I have a
comments?
question from Marcia and Steve combined. Since Mr. Underhill stated he'd be willing to pay a couple $1,000s on these 3 parcels for an archaeological study, we didn't address it on parcel 1. It's kind of hard to address it on parcel 2, back to parcel 1. So when this goes to the county board, can you address it at that time that he was willing to pay for it?
Well, what I would say is, it was a little unclear as to how much he was willing to pay. And so what you would want to do is put it as a condition that maybe sets an amount or sets what's going to be paid for, what isn't. But you're making a recommendation to the county board, so the county board could address the issue however it wants. It doesn't have to have the conditions as you state them.
They can add their own conditions.
Right.
stating
Yeah.
that, Right?
Yes.
So maybe
So-
before the county board, if staff could get a ballpark estimate on that, that figure could be added at that time.
Right. And to let the county board know ahead of time that this was a discussion at the planning commission and it's under consideration to be added. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Any other discussion? I presume we've got almost the same findings of fact and conditions, except this one isn't a shoreland overlay district, so we don't have to have them, right? All right. What's your wishes?
I move that we accept the docket number PC 0716-28604 with findings of fact and conditions.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Jordan seconds it. Okay, so we got a motion to adopt PC 7-16-2604 with the findings of fact and the conditions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's passed. Okay, well, it's the same lingo for you, Bill, as the last time, so. You shouldn't get confused if you get the first one right.
August 20, the meeting.
Oh, the
County-
meeting is August 11th, just like the last one. So that's just for your information. All right, is there anything else that the planning commission needs to discuss or wants to discuss? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Jordan moves and Everett seconds the motion to adjourn. We are adjourned, and thank you all for your patience and your understanding and your input.